Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special historic 100th episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
100 episodes.
Wow.
That's epic, man.
That is amazing.
100 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's been 100 episodes, and it feels like just yesterday.
It does.
In very many ways.
You know, guys, it was...
Of course, I blame PERCOSET for most of that.
yes, that's right. You are on PERCOSET, aren't
I
you?
am, yes. In fact, our special guest for this show is PERCOSET, as you will soon discover.
Now, if we just for our listeners, let you know that not every day is someone here on PERCOSET.
Really?
This is a special. This is a
Special occasion.
No.
Very
This is a special occasion.
Every other episode, I like to make it. Yeah.
But Sean, you got some interesting facts here.
Sometimes it's peyote.
Yes. No, but I would just like to say that, yes, it was on October 4th, 2013, that a little unassuming podcast called Monster Party premiered and was released onto the world and burst forth into the nerd universe.
Yeah.
Sparked Monster Party mania across the world.
It was all
Action
over.
figures.
It was like it was the British invasion all over again.
Oh my goodness!
It was crazy.
Oh, the offers that have come rolling in.
Well, it's interesting too when you listen to that episode. I mean, we are fresh. We are.
Yes.
We're
Well, yes.
Hi, I'm Larry Stroth. It's just
no.
Jay Scottus.
We were quite
Matt Weinhold.
we were more subdued, actually. We were just kind of like a little
keep
more.
America strong.
Yeah. But the topic was, it was our first topic for our first podcast episode was worst monsters.
Worst monsters.
monsters.
So
monsters.
we are revisiting that topic. We're coming full circle.
Yes.
And doing revenge of worst monsters.
Revenge of worst
100th episode.
100th episode. Back to our roots, and that's why.
right.
I was joking about PERCOSET, of course, being our guest, but it actually is our guest because we have no other guests. Because
Right.
that's the way we started. In the very beginning,
Yes.
we didn't have guests.
Primitive
so we want to give you
days.
sort of it's almost a
Raw and unplugged.
Unplugged.
It's very much back to the roots of how this whole thing started.
Right.
And it's amazing because as we started to do episode after episode, other people started to go, "Gosh, that is a great podcast," and people
They're
started to
clamoring at our doors.
There were some people going, "Oh my gosh, you guys are great," and slowly but surely we had a guest. Here and
Fangoria
there, and
came
then-
on board
Well, that was
and-
but that's because we got some great guests early on,
And guests are
Absolutely.
great, and we love having guests. But this is one of those episodes where we were thinking about what to do for our 100th episode.
Right,
And it was hard to think of a guest because, we love them all. They're so, to pick one would be
impossible.
really, really difficult. And so the fact that now we're back to the way this thing started, I think is perfect.
like you said about going to our roots, because we've talked about this before, how Monster Party kind of was spawned out of us going to Comic-Con every year and going back to our hotel room and arguing about monster movies and stuff and,
Having some
and
drinks.
drinking and staying up all night. And that's kind of how Monster Party came about. So this is kind of like back to
this
that.
is going to be, and I have to, of course, do a little bit of backstory of why I'm on PERCOSET. I didn't want
Just for fun.
Backstory. I'm hilarious. The backstory is I've had surgery on my back.
Hey,
Spinal surgery. I like
Yeah.
the way spinal surgery sounds better.
It does sound
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it sounds more horrendous.
Apparently, on our Japan trip, when we walked all over Japan, we just really messed up your back, I guess.
Well, that's when I realized how bad my back was, and it had been happening for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I'd been having a series of what I thought was sciatica and pain in my legs and in my lower back, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And finally, I did a bunch of things. I tried doing physical therapy. Nothing ever worked. I did an epidural. Oh, that's fun. Try that. And then finally just resorted to surgery.
And you had your tingler removed.
And I had my tingler removed. Yeah. And they pulled it out. I screamed.
it died.
And it died. And now I'm feeling great.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had my tingler replaced with PERCOSET.
Well, this is great, but I really
No,
want.
let's talk a little bit more about PERCOSET.
No. This is great, but I really want to get to this revenge of the worst monster.
Wow, you just want to gloss over probably the most traumatic surgery of my entire life. Yeah.
No. I just
Let's talk about Reptilicus.
It's very interesting, and
In 100 episodes, you have still not learned to lie.
Look,
filter.
Look. In case, I'm glad we said this up front because
I'm wearing a back brace.
I know, because if the listeners go, God, Matt sounds a little loopy. Well, now they know. I mean, and so, but I don't want to just.
Some would call it happy.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Well,
Hi, microphone.
Well, since you're so happy, why don't you give us one of your worst monsters?
Yeah, Mr.
And try,
Backman.
and try and try not to do anything that we did in our first episode, if you can remember, recall.
I'm gonna start this off with, I think, something that will be a little controversial.
Oh,
How about this?
Blackfish.
Nice one. Wow. Hey, PERCOSET. We just made a new friend. His name's Larry. He says funny things.
James, I expected you to say something like that.
Oh, it's early.
Yeah.
Okay.
What episode was that, Blackfish, where you said
Horror Obscura.
Horror Obscura?
okay.
Yeah, no, that was about
It's
as obscure
obscure.
as you can get.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't want
So
to go there.
here's my choice.
All right, sir.
For bad monsters, I think this person, God bless him, I'm sure he was a wonderful man. But his whole thing, I think, is overrated and, as monsters go, lame and weird. And that would be Rondo Hatton.
Oh,
Really?
I've never been a fan of any Rondo Hatton movies. I think they're dull. I don't think he's that good of an actor. And the fact that this was a guy who was an actor who had, it's a rare disease that affects his facial features.
Yeah.
And it's called acromegaly,
Yep.
caused by a disorder of the pituitary gland. Yeah, that was right off the top of my head. And
Wow, very
but it
good.
made his face look weird, and he was a guy who had a disease.
Yeah.
And they thought, well, let's just cast him as a monster.
Yeah, like the Elephant Man. Yeah, that's great.
But like the Elephant Man is somebody who I do not think of as a monster.
Right,
and
right.
imagine if they had said to John Merrick,
Yeah.
we want to make you the monster in horror movies.
Yeah.
How horrible and hideous that would be. How
Well-
terrible that would be.
Well, on the flip side, though, how much am I getting? That's what. That's it. And then they'd say, well,
that's
we're
the
going to
same voice as your Hefner impression.
No, it's a different one. But there'd be some compensation, I'm sure.
well, it did make him a star.
It did. It did.
I mean,
what's
minor
star
league
mean?
star.
I know.
But you say you don't like so you don't like House of Horrors?
Yeah.
With Martin Kosleck as the artist. That's a fun little moody.
what's with you?
Universal program.
What I'm saying for the most part, when it comes to even the movies are fine. They're okay.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I hate them.
Okay.
But for him as the monster, as a kid, watching a movie, and like I'm sure you guys all felt this way when you were growing up. You're like, okay, it's a horror movie. I've been promised a horror movie. I'm going to watch this movie, and I'm waiting for that monster. What is this monster going to be like?
Right.
And then it's like a guy with a kind of a weird face.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's my uncle.
Well,
how is that?
Okay. No. I have to put in my 2 cents because I'm really surprised that you're saying you think Rondo Hatton is like a worst monster. See, I could not disagree with you more because when I think of a worst monster, it's like when someone's putting together, they really don't put much effort. It's quick or it's cheap or something.
Much effort?
dude.
That's exactly Rondo Hatton.
No effort.
No. His look. He's got this great look. And when you say, and no, Matt,
you, James.
Matt, I'm talking to you. When you say, "Oh, he looks like my strange uncle," we all have that.
We all have strange uncles.
We all have that strange uncle or that cousin that's a little off, beat. He's a little funky, and he's always a bit creepy. And so it's like when you see him for the first time as a kid, it's like he doesn't look right. There's something a little off. I
true.
don't trust him, and he gave me a creepy feeling, Matt.
I will say, I see where you're coming from, Matt, in that like, as a little kid, you want a monster. You want
Yeah.
but
You want claws.
And then the more I found out about him, made me even like him as a monster even less because I just felt like they were exploiting him.
Right, but see, but now as an adult, appreciating like the B movies of Universal, especially the '40s, to me, I see him as a really interesting character actor. Now.
Me too.
He was in Pearl of Death, one of the Sherlock Holmes movies. As
He's
the
not a
Creeper.
great actor, though.
No,
He's not like.
he's more.
Look,
let me give you.
He's no Lawrence of Olivier. Okay,
Well,
I get that.
That is true. Yeah, but let me
Rondo
give you,
Olivier.
let me give you. His Hamlet is bizarre, but let me give you sort of a mirror image, more modern day example of that, which would be Michael Berryman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Michael
More
Berryman,
character actor.
Hills Have Eyes.
he looks strange,
Yes, he does.
but if they just made a movie where they put him in it and it was like weird looking guy. And I'm like, because his Rondo Hatton's movie was The Brute Man.
yeah,
Right,
the
or the
Brute Man.
Creeper.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Creeper.
and
Yeah.
they just called him Weirdo or whatever. You know,
Weirdo.
Like that would not work for me as opposed to something like The Hills Have Eyes, where they cast a bunch of weird looking people.
Right.
And the story was more the thing that propelled that rather than how strange these people looked.
Yeah.
Right.
You
So
know
the
what I
movie
mean?
around him was much more. I mean, it is true that I think the Universal really they almost hinged some of these movies on him. Kind of like
And Berryman's a far better actor.
yes, that's the thing. I think Rondo Hatton was extremely limited as an actor,
Yes.
and they took advantage of his strange look and did what
And
they
his
could.
sons.
Kind of like Aquanetta too, back in all the Jungle Captive and Jungle Woman. movies.
Aquanetta?
Aquanetta.
I don't know this.
She was in the Jungle Woman, Jungle Captive, and Captive
yeah.
Wild Women.
She was like
another-
a lot of hairspray.
Yeah, and actually, yes.
Thank you, Percocet.
And actually, Rondo Hatton is in one of those with her, but she was another minor tier kind of semi-monster character. She turned into she turned into like a gorilla woman, but there was
Yeah.
makeup. There was Jack Pierce makeup on her.
Thank
but she was
God.
this very, she was kind of like I think Venezuelan actress, very limited
But
actress.
what did she look like? She looked weird before.
No, she was a very beautiful
beautiful.
girl, but I'm saying is she was in the same level as far as like the minor tier Universal monsters later in the 40s when after there've been so many sequels to all the big horror
Yeah.
But it's also the same mentality. Like we were talking about this on the first episode about the hunchback nurse in House
Right.
of Dracula,
Right.
where it's like, okay, you have someone with sort of a physical deformity. Oh, it's a monster.
right. They're trying to push.
Well, you
they're
could
trying to-
even argue that the
it-
first
it-
Hunchback is not really a monster.
Okay, look,
either.
That's true.
It,
Sure,
look, it was a
true.
simpler time, okay?
It's
it
a
was
different
a
time,
time when,
definitely,
you
yeah.
know...
Look,
people-
that's the excuse that they use to, excuse like the Civil War. Okay? You can't fall back on that.
I have to say though,
It
Matt,
was a different time.
that's true. I have to say though that I have a great 12-inch figure of Rondo Hatton.
I know you do.
which is
Yeah.
awesome.
He is iconic.
yeah, it's
And-
kind of
and
iconic in a way.
And I've seen you mock it.
Yes, and no, he doesn't mock it. And let me remind you, sir, I just want to remind you, he is beloved. There is actually Rondo Hatton Awards that are given out.
It's called the Rondo Award.
It's called the Rondo Award.
true.
That's out of
For
respect.
people that are born the most strange.
No. It's in people in the science fiction, fantasy, horror world.
And
you know?
that's why I want to get back to this is not a hit on him as a person. This was a guy who was an actor who was trying to do the best he could with what he had, and I'm sure he was delighted to get the work that he got. What
Right,
I'm saying
definitely,
is as a monster, as something that was created to scare me, all that character did was make me feel bad for him, not scared.
Hey man, if I were
Right.
him, I'd be thrilled. I'd say, hey, I'm not, parking cars for a living. I'm actually here on the movie
I'm sure
set.
there was
I'm-
a bit of car park.
No, but, he's out there in the set and he's working, and people are saying, "Mr. Hatton, why don't you take our?"
Why does
Same-
everybody
same
sound?
voice.
Why does everybody sound like Hefner now?
So Rondo Hatton, that's your worst monster. That's what you're starting us
I'm
with.
starting with that one.
but that's an interesting one to start with. though,
Yeah,
'cause I
it
can-
is
yeah.
controversial because I don't agree. I don't
Okay,
agree.
that's fine. All right, who's next?
James.
All right.
Go
Well,
for it.
this is going to be controversial too.
Ah, well, I expect that from you.
Charlie Tuna.
A couple episodes ago, we were here with Ken Daly, and we were talking about
He's not a
different
monster.
monsters. No. But
He's not strange looking.
the Friday the 13th movies came up, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Jason. I don't think
You have
I
got
don't-
to be kidding me.
Which
are you?
sacrilege.
Wait,
are
Jason,
you-
which incarnation of Jason?
Any. I don't,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
okay.
I don't think it's an interesting monster. I don't think he's a particularly interesting character. I think
Worst
it's Michael
monsters?
Myers with a hockey mask, basically. He's somebody who cannot be destroyed. He keeps coming back. He has all these, great ways to kill teenagers violently in different novel, ways. But so what? So fucking what?
Okay, but have you seen all the sequels?
Why would I waste my time?
Well, then you
Okay,
don't.
that's a
Then you
cop-out.
don't know, James, because in part 6, he officially in part 6, Jason Lives. He officially becomes a supernatural zombie, unstoppable killer.
That doesn't make him a better character.
It makes him more
Yeah, it does.
interesting.
Does it?
Yes,
He goes to space.
yeah,
but it's just-
he's a more of a super. He's revived by lightning like Frankenstein.
Does he ever become an actual character instead of just some
You don't
symbolic?
want him to. You don't want him
you want
to
him to
be.
kill teenagers.
He's a
don't
force
want
of
him.
nature.
It's not
And-
interesting to me.
I will back you up in this.
I'm not
is-
backing him up.
Hold on, wait a
I'm
minute.
not.
Here, the one thing you can say that's a little strange about Jason is the fact that he is what could be argued as a mentally challenged character that is now a just heinous monster.
True, he was a mongoloid.
Yeah.
child.
That was Michael Myers. It's a freaking
No,
ripoff.
no.
But Michael Myers wasn't a mongoloid.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, he wasn't a mongoloid, but he was still,
Mongoloid. What are you, my
That
dad?
Devo song, Mongoloid, he was a
No,
mongoloid.
come on. Let's not do that. Come on.
From the beginning, I saw the Friday the 13th series as a Halloween ripoff. I never,
Which it kind of was. I'm not denying that it was definitely cashing in on the popularity of Halloween.
And when you look at,
I think they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. Not all of them.
the Friday the 13th sequels overall are way better than the Halloween sequels.
Well, I don't doubt that.
Well, but see, how can you make that argument if you haven't even seen? How many of the Friday the 13th sequels have you actually seen?
None, zero.
Okay, well
Then there's no argument
yeah,
there.
You
Because
can't.
why would I? After
No,
the
no,
first
that's-
like,
You
but
can't make a.
that's- no,
You
no, no,
can't
no.
make a
No, that's
look,
wrong.
no,
decision
listen,
about it.
No,
then.
I can. You know why?
Why?
Because Jason has permeated the popular culture as much as Freddy, as much as Michael,
Sure.
as much as other major.
But you have no
slashers.
basis because you haven't seen the quality of the films. You have no idea what the films are like.
You are commenting on something you
You've
have
not seen. That's
not
like that.
experienced.
That's like
I cannot
that's like the
subject-
video nasties when Miss
the-
Whitehouse or whatever was commenting, making all these VHS tapes and saying, "Oh, this is a video nasty." She was judging these movies without
Okay,
even
listen.
fucking
Yeah,
seeing them.
what do you like? The people who are against Life of Brian
Tell me,
or
tell me the
Last
movie.
Temptation of Christ?
Tell me the movie.
Why do you hate Jesus?
Tell me the movie.
No, look, no one's hating Jesus. Okay,
James
come on.
does.
No.
Tell me the movie where Jason takes off the mask and it actually has a chance at becoming an actual human being.
He takes out the mask in every movie.
I don't
Okay.
want him to become an actual human being. That
I
would
don't-
ruin it.
I'm just not interested.
He's a force. He's a force of nature, just like Michael Myers is. Michael Myers is just as one-dimensional as
or
Jason.
the shark in Jaws.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Or the killer whale in Blackfish.
After Halloween 2, Michael Myers.
Horror classic.
I had high hopes for Halloween 2, believe it or not. Talking about Michael Myers.
Sure,
And then
so did
that
I.
was just such another formulaic slasher piece of crap. And I was like, why would I waste my time with any more sequels? Halloween 3 was a different story.
Okay, but that's
No, but seriously.
your rules are interesting.
Yeah,
Let's just
and,
say.
and the thing about the sequels of the Friday the 13th is they have a lot of fun with the sequels. They have a Carrie part 7
I
is like
love
she's
that
a
one.
girl with telekinesis fighting Jason. Jason goes to New York. Jason
Yeah.
goes to space.
Which is the-
Those are fun.
Which is the Carrie one? What is that one?
That's part 7, I believe.
My argument is that
A New Blood, I think
Thank
it was.
they might have done somersaults trying to find creative ways to make Jason more interesting and doing all the shit around him, but that doesn't mean that he's interesting as a character. Take Freddy Krueger by comparison. Way, way more interesting in the environment, like the world that Freddy lives in. He lives in your dreams. All the surreal shit can
would agree with
happen.
that.
He's
Yes.
a wisecracking, you know.
But you
But
know,
I watched
he
those
became
movies-
less and less scary with every sequel.
Sure.
But I watch those movies with a different expectation than I do
Sure.
a Friday the 13th movie.
Which is more like a body count movie, and that's what it is.
And
yeah.
that there's a roller coaster element to all those movies that's just fun.
Sure,
Right.
you can argue that those movies are fun because of that, but can you really argue that Jason is a great monster?
I can because I've seen all the movies.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I've seen every single one of them.
I mean, I'm not saying
numerous
the
times.
greatest. Yeah, me too. But I'm not saying it's the greatest. But I'm saying just you have to see the movie.
Okay, no. Maybe I kind of see. I think I kind of see where you're going here. You kind of have this feeling that he's like a one note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But many of those slasher franchises were.
Yeah, I think Sean brings up a good point. It's like it's not. he may have. He's more than just the one note, and you're right. He doesn't have a monologue or anything. Okay, but there is something that is completely terrifying.
Monologue.
And there is stuff that they do with him that is different from film to film.
Freddy versus Jason. He goes into his dreams and he sees his mom again.
But
That's a really great movie.
I'm not
That's a lot of fun.
At first, I was thinking, "Oh, you're so full of shit," but but then no. I'm thinking about where you're coming from, and I can see it. Sean brings up a really good point. I know you're kind of like jaded. You're like, I don't want to waste my time because he's going to be a one note thing. But I think Sean has a really good point. If you see these films, you'll see that they are a bit different.
Okay.
In film to film.
That's
my only argument is watch. You can't. I wouldn't make a judgment like that without having seen the movies.
Because each one is different, even in tone, and the way that even Jason is portrayed can change from film to film. And so you have to judge them individually.
I know what you're saying. I totally respect what you're saying. I hate the people who condemn things without saying them too. It sounds really
Why do you
without
must
seeing
hate
them.
yourself? God.
No, it sounds really hypocritical. But at the same time, I don't think I'm alone in this. I think there's a lot of people for whom Friday the 13th series is not necessarily their thing.
I will say, in fairness, if you were to say to us, you know what, guys, I've seen every one of these Friday the 13th films, and I've got to tell you, blah, 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 and I don't like, he's the worst. I think that may have a little more weight. But to actually say, I've seen one, and I think he's the worst monster, I don't think that's carries much weight.
We could go on.
No, okay, look. So I just want to say, so for the two worst monsters, I disagree with both of you. Okay, but I'm gonna bring up a worse monster. I think we can all agree.
There we go.
Yes. Okay. Now I was thinking about this.
Godzilla.
No. It doesn't even come close. I was kind of thinking outer space, and maybe this is kind of sci-fi.
Sure, it's fine.
But in the world, I'm thinking of there is a monster or creature that I saw in a film that made me so angry. It made me so mad. And they had the money to make him good. They had the money to make him cool and creeping. But watching it, I thought it was stupid. And I'm talking about from 1983, from Return of the Jedi, in Jabba the Hutt's room, Salacious Crumb. The little rat-like creature that's next to Jabba the Hutt that goes, and doesn't blink his eyes, and he's basically he's a latex Muppet.
Well, I would say all the other creatures in that little den of Jabba's things are all terrible.
Well, it's funny you should say
They're
that.
all terrible.
Yeah. Well, that one in particular, he made me so angry. And I go, really, guys, really? That's what you did?
Yeah, because Jabba himself, I thought was a great creation.
Absolutely, I agree. When I first saw that movie, and that Jabba the Hutt sequence,
yes.
What annoyed me about that creature more than the personality of it was that it was a Muppet.
Right, it became the Muppet Show.
No, the thing, yes,
and every other Muppet character in that scene, I hated.
What was that fucking blue elephant thing?
See, it's funny you should say that.
Stupidest fucking
that
thing
was
I've
the
ever
one I
seen.
hated more.
I want to let you know that's kind of accompanies this.
Yeah.
First of all, Cy Snoodles is actually the female singer.
Oh, that's horrible too.
And
with the lips,
with the lips. But the blue guy is called Max Rebo, and he's like a little blue elephant. And here's the thing that pisses me off about it. Okay, you could say, well, they're aliens and they're unique. It's like, well, it's got to have some kind of logical sense. When Salacious Crumb is there, his eyes don't blink. It's like his mouth is very flat. It's flat. Well, and look, I like Muppets. Don't get me wrong. I like Muppets.
I don't.
But look, I want to jump back. When Luke Skywalker fights the Rancor, the Rancor is a cool monster.
Yeah.
I do like
that
the
was
Rancor.
that was a puppet.
Everything, the Gromorian guards look cartoony. The Ewoks, of course, sucked.
But it's like the whole Cy Snoodles, the little ball of a body with the skinny legs and the long.
It was terrible.
And I remember
it was going for the little kids.
Lucas talking, and we'll talk about this more in our Star Wars show when I talk about the horrendous experience I had with Return of the Jedi. But just that whole thing when Lucas says, "Yeah, and I want these big like Mick Jagger lips on her," and I go, "What are you doing? Are you just smoking reefer?"
He was making movies for
hey, let's put Rolling Stones.
Are you on the
stuff
goofballs?
Here. No. But Sean. Look, yes, you're right. All those Muppets, I hated, but Salacious Crumb for me, because what Salacious Crumb did is he put an exclamation point at every point when Jabba the Hutt says something,
Right,
and then
right.
it goes back to Salacious Crumb to go, oh, let's go back to Salacious Crumb to go, and I wanted to take my popcorn and throw it at the screen.
Yeah, it was annoying. It was almost a precursor to Jar Jar Binks.
The shit that
exactly.
was to come.
Yeah.
So would you guys agree with me? Salacious Crumb, worst monster, or he belongs in the category?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Back when Jedi came out, some reviewer or a friend of mine told me the reviewer said that it was the Muppets Go to Vietnam.
That I want to see.
Wow, that's a different.
That was Meet the Feebles.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Right,
Well,
right.
Sean, it's in your corner, buddy.
Okay, so this one, I think you guys would agree with this as far as
don't.
As far as
I don't know.
As far as a disappointing monsters. Okay.
All right.
This was from 1973. This was touted as one of the greatest undersea odysseys ever filmed.
Okay.
It was the Neptune Factor.
Oh, that's a good one.
The Neptune Factor, 1973, directed by Daniel Petrie. It was kind of touted as this kind of sci-fi adventure disaster movie in a way, underwater. Ben Gazzara, Ernest Borgnine, Walter Pidgeon, Yvette Mimieux. Great cast. There's these earthquakes happening in the ocean, and there's this sub that's trapped and lost in the crevice.
Okay,
So they have
okay.
this other Walter Pidgeon, has designed this other, craft to find the lost one. And so it's Ben Gazzara, who's the rough and tough pilot, and Yvette Mimieux's hot.
Oh,
and
she's beautiful.
And Ernest Borgnine, who's like the he's the gruff guy. And the poster for this movie is beautiful. The poster shows all these giant monster fish and eels and like piranha barracuda creatures surrounding this little sub.
Right.
So they go into this very deep part of the ocean where everything's giant.
Right.
And so it's like, this is going to be great. And when you see what it is, it's literally a toy sub in
a
an
fish tank.
aquarium.
No.
And it is so obvious and so bad. And I remember seeing it as a little kid, and even then, I'm like, wait a minute, that's just a little fish. They didn't even
saw it
try
in the
to
theater.
Are you
They didn't try to do
serious?
anything to
Yes.
kind of like. It was literally just like regular fish and regular eels swimming around. It was so disappointing,
But
so
since-
terrible.
since-
I haven't seen this one, Sean.
Since you brought that up too, it also reminds me of every other time they try to do that,
right.
which is like Food of the Gods, where you got a
Yeah,
bunch
but
of
Food of the-
rats
yes.
jumping on a dollhouse.
But at least Food of the Gods
Knight
had some like.
of the Lepus.
Yes,
the
of
little
course,
bunny
of
rabbits.
course.
The Citizen Kane of those movies.
Yeah.
But at least Food of the Gods had like a big prosthetic rooster head, and it had like the wasps,
bees,
the wasps,
wasps
and
were good,
the
yeah.
worms.
Yeah,
So I didn't mind them, but
But every time they do that, like when they go from using those prosthetics to
just a magnified.
like, oh, that's a rat. And then I start to feel bad for the animal.
yes,
Like,
it's
oh,
true.
that poor rat.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Neptune Factor was like, it was kind of fairly big budget movie. I think it may have been
That's
MGM.
a good cast.
Yeah, right. It was Lalo Schifrin did the music score. It was like it was a big deal, and it's just oh my god. And the whole last third of the movie is them just going around these little freaking fish tank. It's just terrible.
Can I ask a stupid
It's also
question?
deadly dull.
Well,
Yeah.
Sean, were the fish, were they beautiful fish?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they're like
some
aquatic, exotic looking fish, and there's some eels, but I mean, they didn't. It was just they never had any shots of like fake. Even like you think of like the Amicus Doug McClure movies. You have like you had the giant heads that were
Yeah.
The Land
actual-
of the Time Forgot.
yeah, like you had actual prosthetic, like that's what you want, but it was nothing but magnified fish. It's
Yeah, no,
terrible.
that's
terrible.
That's a good choice.
yeah.
Sean, I haven't seen this one.
I have it on
but-
DVD though.
Oh, so
Of course,
is that
of course.
is that
He's got
something
the
I should-
vinyl figures.
Yeah, but see,
Yes, I do.
Sean, I don't think that's one I should go out and check out, though. I mean, 'cause now,
it's,
I mean, I
it's
don't
kind
wanna.
of if you're in the right mood, I guess it's laughably entertaining.
If I'm on Percocet, is that what you're saying?
I can't help. I can't help
Hey,
it.
I tried
still-
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somehow I still enjoy.
Brought me
it.
to a bad place, man.
All right, Sean. Well, that was
Yeah,
great.
so that was-
all right, Matt.
Okay.
Give us one that we can agree on.
Well, I don't know if I think you'll, even if you haven't seen this movie, I think you'll agree with me anyway. So this is a movie from 1972 called Blood Freak.
That's on my list.
Yeah, Blood Freak is this.
Blood Freak. Okay,
Blood Freak
don't
is
know
this.
this
It's kind of a religious horror movie.
It's a cautionary tale.
Anti-drug religious horror movie where there's this Vietnam veteran biker guy who runs into this religious girl called, get this, Angel. And she's like the positive influence on his life.
He's like a drifter.
Yeah,
He's like,
she's trying to get him to go on the righteous path.
Yeah.
But then he gets together with some of her friends, and they're all into reefer.
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
To the point where
Percocet.
he gets, if only, he gets addicted to pot. Wow. So
That
anyway,
is so
now he's
wrong.
all
Marijuana.
he's all addicted on the pot, and then he gets a job.
Mary
on this,
Jane.
He gets a job at this turkey farm.
Of course he does.
A turkey farm?
A turkey farm.
Yes.
And these scientists are experimenting with chemicals that they would put in turkey meat. So
Is
they
that what-
want to use him as a test subject, and they give him pot
Okay.
to like bribe him into eating some of this turkey meat as a test experiment.
Right.
So he eats it. He has this seizure, and basically what ends up happening is that when he eats this meat, it turns him into this creature. But he's basically just a man with a turkey head.
A man with a turkey.
A man
Big
with a
fake turkey head.
fake
Wow.
turkey head who
Needs blood now,
Yeah,
right?
where he was addicted to drugs, now he's addicted to blood
Blood of drug addicts.
of drug addicts. Yeah.
Wow.
So the rest of the movie is him just attacking people and attacking drug addicts, and it is the
so
worst
much.
monster ever. It's
It really
just
is.
a guy with a turkey head.
Yeah, pretty
And-
much. And the director appears on camera in between
and does
scenes.
commentary.
Yeah, it's smoking. It's really
Yeah, I mean,
bizarre.
This actually sounds pretty good.
Brad
it
Grinter.
sounds interesting.
It's perfect Thanksgiving viewing.
There's not enough Thanksgiving horror movies.
It is a great B movie, and I would say to watch this because
Yeah, you kinda have to see it to believe it.
it's unbelievable.
What's it called again, Matt?
Blood Freak.
Blood Freak.
Yeah,
it's pretty
and,
amazing.
And the date on it again is?
1972.
Gosh, I see. I haven't seen this one, but
Yeah.
now I'm
And
intrigued though.
It is something to behold, but just as monsters go,
Right.
now I can watch this movie as an adult,
Right.
and go, "Wow, that was so stupid that I kind of enjoyed it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had watched this as a child,
Yeah.
I would have been infuriated.
Really?
Oh
yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
God, this is the monster?
Yeah, yeah.
Turkey Man.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm with you there. No,
Yeah.
I'm part.
And
I
so
would be
just
like
by
that too. Mm-hmm.
concept alone, even if you haven't seen this movie, are you with me on this? Does that sound like something that would kill the monster kid within you?
Sure, but I want to see this movie. And,
Now you-
and the,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Now
the
you
Neptune.
should.
It's kind of an
I'm
infamous bad
actually
movie
curious.
now.
I'm actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like.
It's way more fun than Neptune.
Yeah, it's very shoddy and it's super cheap looking and yeah, it's great.
So if you watch it while you're eating turkey,
yeah.
yeah, I watch it every Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Do you?
But way more fun than the Neptune factor.
Because we all
Yes,
know how
that's
much
true.
I love
Turkey.
turkey.
I love turkey.
And no, I remember our stand. It was a Stand Against Evil show, and we go off about
It was
the
around-
leftovers.
It was around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh, right, right.
Got
Yeah.
very angry.
You got angry at leftovers?
No, because James treated it like it was a joke
made
or
a
something.
pun.
Yeah, it
What
was
was
a
the
bad pun. It was.
This is look. It's the 100th episode, going down memory lane from time to time.
Sorry.
Well, no, I want to know.
yeah,
what
I
was
remember
the
this.
pun?
What
Do you
was
remember
it?
that?
The pun was, I used to be addicted to Thanksgiving leftovers, but I managed to quit cold turkey.
And I got upset.
You got mad at
I'm
that?
mad I got mad
and
at
that,
that.
got him upset.
It was
I
Wow.
launched into this whole
tirade
Wow.
about the leftovers because I was from a large family and
you
there
liked
wasn't
them, right?
yes, I was like precious
It's almost
treasure.
better
It's like-
than the first time around.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, and to make a turkey sandwich with the warm gravy and the
Sure.
bread, and
Little bit of.
and-
I always like to do like a little thin coating of the
Yeah.
the stuffing.
And then, do you remember how cruel you were? You were so mean because your family,
Me
you were yes,
cruel?
You had
yes, because
two
you
of
were
everything.
catering. No. Yeah, Sean's goes. Oh, Larry had 2 turkeys. No, we didn't have 2 turkeys. But
Larry,
because
I've had
his
spine
family.
surgery.
No, I know. But I'm just gonna say, you know what? Just because you had surgery, I'm not gonna be light on you. I mean, I'm gonna call you out.
Ow, ow.
No. Do you remember?
Where's
do you remember?
hurt?
No, you said because you're a family into catering. Hey, we do catering and we do all kinds of turkeys, and you go in gravy. Oh, gravy. We had so much gravy.
You didn't get enough gravy?
No, I did not. We only had so much gravy, so that gravy was
Wow.
precious to me.
Because they spent all the
gravy
money on
peasants.
action figures.
No.
That's
And then
right.
Sean goes off on this. Oh yeah, I like the whole can of cranberry sauce. You know, I like it
do.
shaped like a can.
Yeah, I do.
Anyway,
I like that.
Just thinking about it now just makes me
Wow.
angry.
Okay,
But-
well,
but-
let's
but-
move
but-
on.
Bring it down.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I do want to see this movie, Blood
Right,
Blood
Blood
Freak.
Freak.
It's
Yes.
good with
Freak.
It's good with cranberry sauce.
It is.
James,
All right, go.
All right. We had Tom Holland on the show, and it was a highlight because he
my
was
gosh,
awesome. He was a
fantastic.
great director.
What a lovely man.
Fright Night,
Night.
Child's Play. He wrote
So
Psycho
many-
2, Class of 1984,
one of my
Psycho
favorites.
2. However, in 1995,
Oh, I think I know what you're
he
gonna say.
directed a Stephen King adaptation called
Yeah.
The Langoliers.
Oh my God, yes, that's on my list too.
I totally forgot about.
It's a sort of a Twilight Zone story about
Yeah.
these passengers on a jet plane who they wake up, and for some reason everyone else on the plane except for like these 7 or 8 people have disappeared. Well, it has to do with the Langoliers, which are the title characters, which are these atmosphere chewing spheres. I don't know if there's any better way to describe it, but they
Right.
have sharp teeth.
Entities, yeah.
Yeah. And in
And what do they cut up? They like eat reality?
yes.
Yeah.
Now, in the fiction, in the actual story, you could sort of let it go because you're reading through this novella. In the movie,
Terrible name, by the way.
yeah, that too. But in the movie, you've got 1995 CGI.
Oh my
Right.
God,
With these
it's
terrible,
so-
terrible, and that's not Tom Holland's
No,
fault.
no, not at all.
But it's so bad that it for all the virtues of the movie, and it does have an interesting cast. You know,
yeah,
there's
it's an
Robert
interesting
Morris,
concept.
but-
Yeah,
yeah.
But the Langoliers literally look like furry black Pac-Man.
Yes, yeah.
If
they're
that.
like chomping away at the tarmac of the. It's so bad.
With these sort of chainsaw teeth, and it's so obviously bad CGI.
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
doesn't work.
How many
at all.
movies during that phase when they just
early
hadn't-
90s.
hadn't
The
worked
early-
it out yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or,
Like
or we
I would
didn't,
put
we didn't
the relic.
know.
The relic is another one of like.
Oh yeah.
See,
Where-
Yeah.
but on the flip side, guys, look. If you think back to 1995, when you saw that, wasn't this for television?
Yeah, made
Yeah.
for TV.
And
yeah.
so it's like, so Tom, you got X amount of dollars for the filming, and then
Sure.
look, we have like $20, or it was maybe more like 500 or so, whatever it is for the no.
I
Hear me
sy-
out.
I
Hear me
sympathize.
out.
I
And that
sympathize.
CGI, as much as you want to chastise it now, at that time, maybe it wasn't necessarily state of the art, but for the money that they put in, I mean, that's the best that they could do.
Well, I think
Sure.
too that when we saw that kind of primitive CGI back then, we didn't necessarily think it was great, but it was different, so we kind of maybe
Yeah.
gave it a pass.
Yeah.
But man, age has not been good today. Whereas I can still watch a Ray Harryhausen movie.
Me
and the stop
too.
motion has this. I don't know what it is.
Warmth.
I know that it's stop
Yeah.
motion. I know that it's a miniature and you're matching with live, but I can watch that and enjoy it. Whereas
That early CGI is cool.
I think it was
Cold as ice.
I think
Yeah.
it was it David Scow who said, when you look at Harryhausen stuff, you know it's fake, but it looks real. When
Yeah.
you see
Right.
CGI, it looks real, but it feels fake.
Yeah.
Back then, it was neither.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah, it's
exactly.
true, though.
But it
Yeah.
was because it was such a unique thing. You know,
Yeah,
not
you
everyone had CGI.
But the CGI, the movies where it worked the best was when they used the CGI to be something that was not organic.
Yes,
Whereas
that's true.
Tron,
You get it
Tron,
right, yeah,
Tron,
that's
they
true.
created a whole world.
Yeah, I
ran
buy
by-
that. I enjoy, right. Yeah.
Ran by different rules, and I feel like that movie still kind of holds up with those visuals. The Last Starfighter, I think, for the most part, does
Yeah.
because it's spaceships.
Yeah,
Right, right, that's
or
true.
even a lousy movie like The Lawnmower Man, because it's virtual
It's
reality.
a
and
virtual reality. You
you
kind of get
know-
away with it too. That's true. Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
You-
Is that any
you know-
good?
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
good.
It's not good.
I thought it was see, you're Mr. King Stephen King specialist. For me, who's not necessarily a Stephen King specialist, I actually thought it was kind of neat. It was the guy, was it Jeff
Fahey and Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah,
who,
yeah.
you know,
So it had a decent cast.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of cool. But
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's kind of like borderline. No. I don't think it was as bad as James. Look, if I was sitting on the couch lying because I had some back surgery and I'm, and I have, and it was on, I'd watch it. No, I'd watch
The
it.
Percocet would help.
Don't you disrespect my Percocet. Percocet has very good taste.
All right,
Okay.
that's
All right. No, the
interesting.
language-
Interesting. But yeah,
okay.
that's a good one because because just imagine if that was remade today. Maybe if but I don't know how you would visualize them still. But yeah,
It'd still be hard to pull off, but at least
Yeah,
with today's
yeah.
technology, you'd probably be able to do
The
better.
Langoliers.
Yeah.
Really?
Can you tell me the name? Why that name? It couldn't have been.
it sounds better than
Mouths from
giant furry black Pac-Man. I
Right.
guess.
They could have called it the Twinkies. It wouldn't have made a difference. You
That's
know?
No, that's a
scary.
different. That's a sexy movie. That's
That's a sexy movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
let's get inside your head right now.
All
What
right. Well,
sexy.
all right.
Okay, well,
Who's next?
if you want to get
Cream-filled?
into my head, speaking of cream filled, we did an episode called Dinosaurs with two great guys,
Right. Two Franks.
Two Franks, Frank Dietz and Frank Woodward, and we talked about a movie that I think has a worse monster or a worse dinosaur. When I
Okay.
mean, I like my dinosaurs like
Oh, I know what you're
classics.
talking about. Yeah.
I like King Kong stop motion animation. Well, I'm talking about from 1948. Unknown Island, the T-Rexes.
Yeah,
and everyone's going to wonder, people going, well, what is this? Okay, look, folks, what they did, this was directed by Jack Bernard, and he had these guys in these Tyrannosaurus Rex outfits where the guys kind of, when they got into the costume, they couldn't really get out until the end of the day. They're kind of stuck in this costume because it's
Right.
kind of big and kind of, and the weird thing is they have like little legs and these little arms, but the whole body kind of goes, and the head goes all the way up over the
Yeah.
head of the man inside
Very
the
awkward
costume.
looking.
It is, and the weird thing is, I don't remember if it was like Palmdale or not Palmdale. It was someplace when they were filming. It was incredibly hot.
Right.
So here you have these guys who are sweating like crazy, and they look funky. They look kind of like I mean, look, I like a guy in a Godzilla costume, but these were made kind of.
They were very
fun.
crude. Yeah.
They were.
Whereas,
they were.
like the Land Unknown had a good T-Rex. That was Universal from the 50s. That had a really good T-Rex
But
costume.
So here you actually have these guys walking around in the T-Rex costumes, and one guy actually passes out.
And they don't they keep it in the movie?
Keep it
They
in
see
the
him
film,
fall over.
Sean.
Right.
They keep it in the film.
That's great.
And also, I mean, so we talk about, I guess, the two Franks there. They have a kind of a love for the film, and I get it. I understand it. But
I do kind of love it too.
okay. Well, for me, I want my dinosaurs to be more serious, more aggressive, and like King Kong dinosaurs, and so I felt that in the world of dinosaur monsters, they kind of lacked.
Right.
So to me, that film, those T-Rexes,
I can
worst
see
monster.
that. I can see that.
I just look at it as really fun cosplay. Like if I saw that at a
Right.
convention now, I'd go, "That's
Yeah.
awesome."
Oh,
That's
hey,
true, yeah.
Matt, look. It looked, sure. If I saw some kid in a cardboard, T-Rex costume that looked like that, I'd go, hey, that's pretty cool. But not in the movie of Unknown Island. I want to see him move, and I want to see that neck move, and I want to see him go, arr, I want more mobility in that dinosaur. And there was a lack of mobility. It's just
Definitely.
kind of
They did have
Yeah.
stiff necks, yes.
Yes.
They did. So there you go.
All right.
Sean?
All right, I got one for you. This
Oh,
again,
everyone agrees with me so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one that again, just very disappointing because I was like, oh, really? This was a movie from 1955, Universal, called Cult of the Cobra. This is Faith Dumarge.
Dumaru. This Island
From
Earth.
This Island Earth.
I love her.
Faith Dumarge.
How much have you been drinking?
Richard Long, Marshall Thompson.
Yeah.
Now this is kind of classic 50s Universal.
Yeah.
It was these soldiers. They were on leave from World War II. They're in this I think jungle area where they witness this kind of like forbidden ritual of these snake worshipers.
Yeah.
And like the priests, high priests see them and say, you're not allowed to see this.
Yeah.
We're cursing you.
It was kind of sexy though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like this kind of little ritual. But
Everything's all sexy with you right now.
Yeah.
He's talking about Cult of the Cobra. There's like a sexy dance.
But anyway, there was this snake cult, and they were forbidden to see this, to witness this kind of ritual, but they did, and the priest cursed them and said, we will get you. So the guys, they go back to the States, and then
dodge that bullet.
Yeah, and then this mysterious woman comes into their life.
A mysterious woman comes in the door.
Very beautiful woman, and starting to kind of like play around with both all the different guys.
God bless her.
And and what it turns out is she's been sent by the high priests.
Yeah.
She's been sent to get rid of these guys.
Yes.
And what it is she's kind of like this cobra woman.
Yes.
Right.
Half woman.
So,
Kind of a cobra
well,
woman?
no, she is.
She is.
So now remember, this was like 50s Universal.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, cool, we're gonna have some cool Bud Westmore like snake woman monster. No. When Faith turns into this cobra,
Snake woman, yeah.
the camera pans to her shadow on the wall, and it dissolves into a shadow of of a regular cobra, and the cobra bites the guys, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they do this over and over again, and that's it. As a kid, big disappointment.
Yeah, you know,
I want a cobra. I want a cobra
Hammers-
monster.
Hammers the reptile.
or even Night of the Cobra Woman, which is like she turns into a. So I wanted something, and the movie itself is okay. It's kind of moody.
It's neat.
It's well acted. It's kind of typical, but I just so wanted even at the end to have her like be half cobra.
Give me that
something.
ending, yes.
Faith Didgeridoo.
Yeah,
is
I mean she's
Faith
very, very, very good.
Yeah, no, but she's a beautiful woman.
Oh no, and
she's very sexy,
it's a
very shapely.
Cool concept for a movie, but like, but you want a monster.
This
you
is
know?
also in color, right? Unlike a lot of the other universes.
No, it's black and white.
No.
Black and white.
What are
Was
you
it
on
black and white?
Percocet?
Black and white.
No,
Maybe I'm
it's
thinking
black
of-
and
I
white.
must be thinking. Maybe I'm thinking of Dr. Cyclops.
Dr. Cyclops was in
Cyclops.
color.
Okay, I'm thinking of that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, and those are two completely different movies.
Yes,
I don't know
they
where
are.
you're coming from.
Well, because they came in the same box set with the Universal
They did.
science fiction.
That's true.
that's
Along with
why,
Land
okay.
Unknown and
Yeah.
the Deadly
Right.
Mantis. I
Right,
think.
right,
Yeah,
right,
which I really liked Deadly Mantis, but you know,
but again, don't you think though, like
Sean,
as even today though, like I appreciate the filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's rip off.
you
want something.
You know what happened.
Even a transformation.
I know.
Even if she's going to become a regular cobra,
Sean.
see like the skin in her.
I know.
something.
You know that they said, okay, you got to finish this in 10 days. Number one. Number two.
That was back.
No,
but that was
no,
back when
no,
you had a lot.
no.
Even Tarantula had great. But
Well,
Westmore, with acromegaly.
You're
Leo
right there.
DiCaprio.
Leo DiCaprio gets
Leo DiCaprio.
acromegaly.
Okay, dude,
Yeah.
maybe they only had 6 days on this one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and look, the thing that gets me, the thing that helps. Look, I'm not arguing. Well,
Okay.
I am arguing with you, but listen. She's very sexy. She comes
Yeah,
out of
it's-
that container. Kind of like
It's
kind of got
hotness
those-
container.
It's like it has everything.
And
it has all the other pieces, but then not a good monster.
It's sexy, suggestive. The shadow.
Yeah,
the
come on.
shadow.
Dissolve to a shadow,
I think
like,
you know what.
come
I
on.
think if a prepubescent Sean Sheridan saw that film,
No, it would be a rip-off.
What?
It would be
No,
a rip-off to me.
no.
It would be a rip-off to me.
You said okay. Look, I
Howard
understand.
Pine was no Val Lewton.
No. And Sean, look, I agree with you. Even if it was at the end, give me one shot. Give me one shot
Yeah.
of her half cobra.
Even like the similar movie at the time, The Leech Woman.
Yeah, the
Leech Woman had the old age makeup, and at the end she got really withered. Even that I was cool with because she was scary when she got old, so that was cool.
But she wasn't a leash.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
It was figuratively, she was a leech. But anyway, so there you go.
it's
Worst monster.
It's I don't know if it
Snakes aren't
falls-
scary. A single cobra isn't scary to me. And a bunch of cobras. Snakes aren't scary
if it's
to
a
me.
woman, if it's a
If it
female,
was half-
it's and
if it
she's
was a snake
sexy
woman,
and
yes.
seductive and wiggling
So-
towards
She'll
you.
wiggle.
So
but
just in the way that they used to do the special effects with old dinosaurs, where they would glue the fin on alligator.
Oh, and
Yeah,
I
right.
have something
Or
like that.
what if
iguana.
if they glued a wig and breasts onto a cobra?
That would maybe that would have been better though. It would have been better than
Right?
just a regular.
Yeah.
Regular.
I know.
cobra.
A little like
Larry, you're looking at me and you're going,
No.
he's a genius.
No. I think what they should have done is they could have done a few shots. You know what would have been really cool is if they got Faith. Okay, Faith, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in like a
Faith
latex,
damage control?
No, a latex, your whole body in latex.
Yeah.
And put like little
Do a
scales.
Yeah,
and do like
right, exactly.
Because some people are going to go, oh my God, she's nude in scales there,
Yeah,
right in front of me.
that'd
And it
be
would be a
cool.
quick shot. Yeah, no.
I know.
I'm with you. I think, and you know what, Sean, maybe that was too titillating. Maybe they
It
couldn't
was
do
too
something.
titillating.
Well, look,
Maybe.
you no, look at
Maybe.
me, look at me. That she was like very
she-
kind of.
she was
I
a-
don't
she
want
was
to
a
say she was
hottie.
like Mae West, but
No, but she was a voluptuous woman.
No,
West.
guys, I'm making a point here that she was a sexy
wasn't
woman.
Manny.
And
Why don't you come up here sometime and let me lay some
look,
eggs
look,
on you?
Okay, look. I'm gonna just jump off the sci-fi world for a moment. Remember, there was this film called The Outlaw. Do you remember that
Jane
film?
Russell?
With Jane
Oh, yeah,
Russell.
yeah, yeah.
And they said, "Oh,
Howard
it's too
Hughes.
racy for the."
Yeah, right,
Well,
right.
Faith was very. She looked
Yeah.
like that. So
Right.
I'm wondering if maybe they thought it might have been a little racy.
Even like a snake tongue to come out or something. Like that would have been cool.
You know what?
like something.
A
right?
snake tongue would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
that'd be cool.
Okay, so I
God,
would
I'm
say,
so hard right now.
I would say, Sean, it's. I don't know if it's necessarily the worst monster, but it's a disappointment.
Very disappointing.
All
but
right,
to me,
all
it
right.
makes it worse.
All right, Matt.
I thought, did we get James yet?
Yeah, we're going
What
around in a
was James?
circle.
No, we're skipping James. Let's keep going.
Okay, all right.
He had,
Skip Mr. I've seen every Friday the 13th movie.
Oh,
Langoliers.
Langoliers, that's right.
Yeah, how's that Percocet working out for you?
Damn you, Perky. Perky. How many times have I told you pay attention to the show? Okay.
You know, if you need to nap for a moment, you know.
I think I already took one
While I was
during
talking.
James's turn.
Happy to help.
All right.
You just keep talking. It's so soothing.
All right, Matt, give us one.
All right.
We may have to end the show in about 20
it.
minutes.
Now you'll like this one. I don't know if you'll agree, Sean,
Okay.
but
I will let you know if I don't.
1978, The Manitou,
Oh,
starring
I don't agree.
Tony Curtis,
Great.
Michael
Insane
Ansara,
cast.
and Susan Strasberg. Not a bad cast.
no.
right?
I know
no.
this film.
Okay, so they
Craziest
stick with me.
concept. Yeah.
So an Indian shaman,
Yeah.
who wants revenge on the white man for all the things that the white man did to the Indians,
Yeah.
is resurrecting itself on the back of this woman.
How appropriate. At the back. Someone
Back.
has back problems.
Again, maybe I think that's what creeped me out about this movie. Is that talk about back surgery gone wrong.
Yeah.
We have something to tell you.
Yeah.
Not only have we not fused your vertebrae, but
There's
you've
an
got a
Indian
shaman
shaman.
growing on your back.
Yeah.
But what happens is this thing, like this woman gets this growth on
Yeah.
her back, a la the Tingler a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it gets bigger and bigger, so now it's like this big sack.
Yeah.
And what ends up emerging now, so it's supposed to be this Indian shaman,
Yeah.
but it's not just an Indian shaman, it's a dwarf.
Yes.
Done up in makeup
Yeah.
that comes out of the sack.
Yeah.
So it's this Native American dwarf
Yeah.
that's got a weird face. And
Yeah.
I just thought, how many more boxes of offensive can we check with this monster?
Whoa. Wait.
The idea that you're like, oh, it's this evil Native American, and hey, let's make it a dwarf for no apparent reason.
Well, she's got a little back, you know? I mean, what do you expect?
She was a petite woman.
No, Matt, come on. No,
so like if it were Sigourney
Matt-
Weaver, she could have handled a full size adult.
if she was
so you're
was in the Avatar body, yeah, but no, Matt, do you expect like a full
Here.
grown?
Now let me
No-
tell you something.
But you're looking at-
Let me tell you something about this movie. First of all, I actually like the movie as a whole.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
it too.
And there's,
It's crazy.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is.
ridiculous.
It is
and
ridiculous.
pretty stupid. But there's some cool special effects at the end.
Yeah, the effects
Yeah.
but the makeup effects
And
are
the
great, I think.
But to
Coming out
me,
of her back
I
and-
don't find that creature scary at all. I
really?
think it's just
Really?
the only
I think
thing
it's
that I
cool.
like about it is climbing out of the sack is kind of fun. But then it's like this little. It's obviously this dwarf.
Yeah.
Who's angry at the and
You didn't find that creepy?
no.
Did you like Basket Case?
I like that because but that's absurd. Like that's a different kind of movie. That one's kind of got a little more of tongue-in-cheek humor
Right,
involved,
right.
And I felt like this was trying to play it straight.
It was. It was kind of
Yeah.
riding on like the Sentinel, Exorcist. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole-
it was
that
kind of
whole
the
wave.
Manitou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And
know. I think
I thought
it's-
it was creepy.
In fact, they should make a little figure of the Manitou.
I don't.
Where
I
is
wanna
that
get
figure,
yeah.
Sean?
I think it's a ridiculous the way they like. I
Interesting.
think they could if they would have made this thing look like. Why they had to go with the dwarf angle? Like that's going to make it more scary, as opposed to having like a demonic creature come out of this person's back.
Right.
That would have been awesome.
Why do you hate dwarfs? What is with you?
No, I'm.
You know that
I'm,
guy-
He's defending though.
That guy had.
I'm saying
that guy was thrilled to have that job.
Thrilled? Are you
Thrilled?
sure?
Yes.
Thrilled.
I'm sure he's getting a few bucks. You know, he's in Hollywood. He's making things happen. He's on the set of a major motion picture.
You know, there were a couple different guys that played the Manitou, and guess who one of them was?
Oh.
Tweaky himself, Felix Silla.
No.
Yes.
I did not know that.
There you go.
Bitty, bitty, bitty.
Yeah. Now,
Anyway.
if he came out doing that, going bitty 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 bitty, what's up, Buck? That would have been scary.
Matt, I'm wondering if you just didn't like it because you go, it's a little person. You know, it's
Personal?
well, yeah.
Because of the back surgery?
No. I thought no. I thought maybe you didn't like it because it's a little person, You know, you go, oh, I feel bad for the little person. But it's like, if you get into the movie, you know, you get into it and go, this is this creepy thing that's coming out of her
It was
back.
originally a little person with acromegaly too, and that was too much.
Wow, that's all of them.
Oh, there's a pattern here, isn't there, Sean? There's a pattern.
When something which is supposed to be a supernatural being crawls out of someone's back.
Yeah.
I would like to see a supernatural being when it crawls out and I see someone who is a dwarf or a little person and I see that like, oh, that was their cheap shot. That was their...
I guess I didn't see. I mean, he was so made up. I didn't even think of him as a little person. It was just like, it was just like a weird
too.
creature. I don't know.
Immediately I was like, oh, really? That's
know.
what you came up with?
So
how about taking some makeup and making a creature?
Where's your suspension of disbelief? You know, you can't like get into this and go.
Wait. I've already said that I do kind of like this movie. I'm just saying.
Oh, you're right. You did say that.
I'm just saying that's where it lets me down.
No, okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I don't. I see where you're coming from, Matt. I'm not going to agree with you 100%, but I can see where you're coming from. I can see it.
I think Peter Dinklage would agree with me on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. We'll do a Game of Thrones show eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. All right. So Manitou. So James is in your corner.
Top that one.
Yeah. Mr. Controversial.
Well, there's a little bit of a backstory to this. Because a couple of years.
Now you're just trying to hurt.
You haven't seen the movie, but you're going to make a judgment on it.
Oh.
No, you have seen the movie. What you're going to talk about,
I've
right?
seen the movie. The backstory is that a couple of years ago we did an episode cald "What the Hell Is Wrong with Us?"
Yes,
and
a great show.
I shared an experience.
Am I the monster?
Matt Weinhold, worst monster ever.
I shared an experience from my teen years where I, at the time, was kind of misguided, and I scoffed at the idea of going to a matinee of Godzilla on Monster Island.
You broke my heart.
Because all I wanted to go to was to see Woody Allen's interiors.
Right.
Yeah, I'll never forget when you told that story. I was crushed.
And
you could have like just.
Not even the funny Woody Allen.
No. I know. I was like so hurt because I thought to myself, oh, if I was that friend with James and I said, hey, let's go see this Godzilla movie. And you would have scoffed at me and said, no, I'm going to go see this Woody Allen. I mean, I would have been heartbroken.
Well, yeah, but that was then. I mean, you can't say that the experiences of then would translate into now. We're different people.
I know. Well, thank God
this
I
is
didn't
100
know you.
episodes in.
Well, thank God I didn't know you then because we wouldn't be friends.
I know. We would have had a big falling out.
We would have.
You are tough.
You asked me what got me back into Godzilla after that.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I said, well, it was finding Bandai figures at Forbidden Planet store in New York and picking them up. That was actually not true. I was remembering it wrong. what got me back into Godzilla was this. I was in college. I was staying up late at night. It was probably 2 or 3 in the morning. And one of the channels was running a Korean monster movie from 1967. It was called Yongari, Monster from the Deep. And this is one of the worst monsters I'd ever seen. But the sheer quality, the horrible quality of the special effects made me love it.
Right.
I've never seen this, but I've always seen the poster.
You know, and I'm with Matt. I've seen clips. Isn't this wait, no, isn't this, it's not a Japanese film.
It's Korean.
Korean.
You said it's Korean.
South Korea's attempt at ripping
PERCOSET
off...
No, I spaced out for a moment.
It was South Korea's attempt at ripping off the Japanese monster movie genre.
They had the cute little kid in it. You know, it was like, it was really strange.
And the costume, the creature never blinked.
Yeah,
and
that's very crude looking.
Very
that's
salacious
the earmark
crumb.
of a very cheap, crude costume if it doesn't blink.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this, and I'm old enough at this point to appreciate absurdity.
Yeah.
And this monster in this movie and the horrible special for the miniature buildings
really
made
bad.
me like really embrace and love all of what that was about. And that got me back into the kaiju.
Really?
Appreciation.
This bad film.
Kind of like a cheesy, fun movie got you back into it.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
But it goes on my worst monsters list
It is
because
pretty
it's
bad.
atrocious.
It has a
Describe
strangely
this monster.
It's just very generic. It's a very generic dinosaur
generic,
with like a horn that
with
glows.
a big,
I think
big horn that glows.
Yeah.
They got the horn glowing. They didn't bother to let him blink.
Yeah.
And it's just
The producer's going, all right, let's see. We can either have him blink
Don't you
have his
steal my
horn.
character.
Well, you're like about ready to fall asleep over there, so I figure
Don't you say that.
Okay,
It's our 100th episode.
okay. So what would the producer say? He'd say,
What I'm looking for is you gave me this monster and his eyes are blinking all over the place. It's distracting. I need to make the horn glow and make the eyes. Because it's just if it doesn't blink, it's tough. But people that don't blink are tough.
You know, it's funny because I've seen the poster of this, and the poster is actually very dynamic. And it's funny how you say that actually got you back into this. Because I was the kid that was always into it.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me, this isn't a monster, but Reptilicus. Reptilicus has a great... No. Sean and I, we love this monster. We love this film. But the poster's great for
poster's
Reptilicus.
cool. Yeah, this is a great poster.
But the monster, he may not be the greatest, but I do have a love for
I just have
Reptilis shit.
And talking about horrible CGI, they did in South Korea. They did a remake of Yongguri.
They did?
You are kidding
just
me.
like 15 years ago,
Oh, I
and
didn't know that.
it's unwatchable because it's all
wow.
CGI
No,
and
it's
it's
terrible.
just horrible.
Yeah.
The original is worth checking out.
I have it on
only
Blu-ray,
so
actually.
You can,
Oh my god.
I do.
Yeah. It's wonderful. It's wonderful because it's so bad that it's so much fun.
And you guys have seen the North Korean one, right?
Pulgasari.
Pulgasari, yeah, that's a crazy one.
I have
That's a
not-
guy in a suit. That's right.
Wait, because there's a lot going on in the world today. Are you
Really?
saying
Pulgasaris
what?
everywhere?
Hello. No, so North Korea, Matt,
North
made
Korea-
a horror,
Yeah,
made
like
a
in the
monster.
80s,
I believe,
right?
if I got the story correct, they kidnapped the
Yes.
director from Japan
Yes.
or China,
Japan.
and they got him to make this kaiju movie.
You are kidding me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it takes place in kind of like feudal Korea.
Yeah.
And
Kind
I
of
guess
like a Majin kind of setting.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. He starts off as like was he a statue at some point?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then he's like a little tiny creature.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
cute.
You're
And he
right.
grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, laced throughout this movie are all these North Korean ideals of
Right.
Sure.
workers. And,
Sure.
You know, everyone
Yeah,
banding
yeah.
together. But that one's pretty awful as well, but a different kind of awful.
Yeah,
That-
It looks
Yeah.
like a big bowl.
Wait, can
Yeah.
can you buy that? Can you get that on
think it's-
Blu-ray or
It's
DVD?
available
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a lower quality format at this point. I don't think they ever.
You're not going to find
They
it.
didn't-
Officially,
they didn't
you can go
Blu-ray
to
that
North
one
Korea
yet.
and buy it.
Oh,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
great, Sean. Yeah.
What,
Hey,
what you can buy is a book detailing the making of it because a
Really?
few years ago
What?
a book was published
Oh,
about
wow.
the whole
You're
thing, the
kidding.
kidnapping
man.
and everything.
Oh my
I
God.
don't remember the title.
They should make
of it,
that
but
a movie out of
That's
that.
actually
Yeah.
a great movie
Actually
idea.
should.
But
Yeah.
wouldn't it say something about your culture? Is it like to make one of the shittier kaiju movies? We had to kidnap the
Yeah.
director.
That's awesome.
Okay, so it's interesting though that this shitty movie is what got you back into
It is.
things.
It is
Okay.
because
Nice.
it was so bad that I had to love it.
The
And
charm
it
of
got
it.
me back,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and it got me thinking back again about the Toho movies, and I opened back up to appreciating them.
You know what's
Cool.
interesting is I've known you now for nearly 20
years
years.
almost, yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
It's a good, thing,
20
it's a good
years.
thing Annie Hall wasn't playing that on the TV.
No. I think it's interesting. And here on our 100th episode, I learned something absolutely new about you that I did not know.
Getting to know you.
I don't want to know any more about it.
No, it's just
All right.
it's shocking to me. It's shocking. You know, it's like I find out something new. It's like, oh yeah, well it wasn't completely true. And so it's like, what else are you telling me that is not? You know,
I'm gonna reveal it slowly over the
Yeah,
course
over the
of
next 100.
episodes.
Right.
all right. Well, look, I'm gonna shake things up a little bit here. Okay, and this is kind of a crazy thing. It's not a large monster.
But it's kind of sexy, right?
This is not sexy at all, unless you're a fan of Gary Busey.
Oh,
Well, kind of.
So I'm talking about a film of about a very small monster, and this is from 2005, directed by Charles Band, The Gingerbread Man. And this film is about it kind of stars Gary Busey briefly, but
okay, right.
yeah, it's about a criminal that is captured and he's like kills people and stuff, and he's gonna go to prison, and he gets shot at, and like some of his blood goes into like this dough.
Right. But isn't it called the Ginger Dead Man?
Ginger Dead Man. Ginger Dead
Gingerbread
Man.
Man.
Ginger Dead Man.
Gin-
Thank you.
Ginger Man.
Yes.
Gingerbread Man was Robert Altman.
Yes.
right.
You're right. You're right.
Well,
Wow.
And by the way,
And I'm the guy on opioids.
Ginger Dead Man. Thank you,
Right,
Sean.
right.
Thank you, Demon Booze. So what happens is this little gingerbread man
Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man takes on the personality.
It's kinda like a
of,
Chucky kind of
It
thing,
is.
yeah.
It's a total ripoff of
Yeah, of
the
course.
Child's
So
Play.
it's-
So how do they do the guy?
He's a little doughy. He's a little doughy.
So is he the
gingerbread-
size of a cookie?
Yeah, he's like a larger size cookie, and he kind of looks like Gary Busey, and he goes, and he can actually fire guns, which makes no sense to me because his hands are like mittens,
Well, yeah, wouldn't the cookie just crumble around the trigger?
Exactly.
It's not realistic.
No, it's Sean. It's stupid. It's stupid, and I know what they were trying to do. You know,
they made sequels too.
yeah,
I think.
know. 3.
Didn't they do like Ginger Dead Man meets Chucky
yes.
or meets
No,
meets the Puppet Master meets demonic toys?
Exactly.
Meets,
No,
meets
not
Toy Man,
I
Doll
don't.
Man.
I don't have the list, but it's not one of those. But
Yeah.
he looks really stupid,
Yeah,
and he is total ripoff of Chucky.
Yeah.
But I thought, it's like supposed to be this cute little gingerbread man, and he has the evil face, and he has this evil voice.
That's like Jack Frost, the killer snowman.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes. Exactly.
I buy that though.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's snow.
that's
it's
more
cold.
realistic.
Yeah, because when I think of gingerbread man, I think of happy.
Snowmen are always kind of creepy.
Well,
and
it's-
then if you put a carrot in a snowman long enough, it makes that carrot really rigid, and they could just kill you with the carrot.
That's true.
Oh, now that's an
How do
interesting
you like
thought.
that?
Or
Yeah.
icicles too.
Uh-huh.
You could take an icicle.
Well, when I think of the gingerbread man, I think like from the movie Shrek, the little Gingy. He goes, "You're a monster," and I like that's cute. Ginger,
Sure.
happy little gingerbread.
They have yet to
man.
make a really good Ginger Dead Man movie.
Yeah, I agree. But listeners, I'm not saying
Coen brothers?
No. And seriously, with all due respect to Mr. Band, this really isn't one of the greatest films,
Right,
and
okay.
They made 1,000 movies a month.
Yeah, there's a few,
you
few
could check out a clip on YouTube if you go Ginger Dead Man clip
yes.
or something, and you can see it, and it's funny. But it's
Yeah.
not something I'd waste my time on.
Right, that's a
but
good one.
I do think he is a
You
worse
just see
monster.
all these people watching the Altman film going, "Ooh, this isn't that bad."
yeah.
By the way, totally sidebar. On the Fox network in the early mornings, they've been showing Quintet a lot.
Really?
Yeah. And,
What?
and
Why?
because it fills up
Weird.
dead time,
Weird,
and
really?
and I came across this one. Oh, this is that film that
it's just
James. Oh,
Fox
yeah,
Movie Channel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Strange.
I tried to watch 5 minutes of it. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
yeah.
is
Oh,
this?
you
you
did
just
better
can.
than we did.
No.
It's
I would
just-
ask you,
yeah.
did you get into it? But I already
No.
know the answer. It's
Well,
impossible.
yeah.
to
First
get
of all, when I
into.
came into it, it's not at the beginning. Number one, and
Doesn't make a difference.
I guess
there's no
probably
real
better.
beginning, middle, or end to that
Right,
movie.
right.
It's just kind of like
It's-
this, just like.
But I just thought it was
miasma.
interesting. It's like, oh, James was talking about Quintet, and so yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Sean.
All right, I
Ginger
got one
Dead
for
Man.
you. This is a pretty obscure movie, but it's kind of infamous as a bad monster. This was from 1966, The Vulture.
Okay, that is a really good choice.
The Vulture is this cockamamie concept. Robert Hutton is in it. Akim Tamarov, Roderick Crawford. Roderick Crawford, by the way, is playing like an English squire, which does not work. But anyway, this-
Roger Crawford.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But it's Cornish village is terrorized by these kind of like attacks by apparently this giant bird.
Okay.
This scary giant bird whisking off people with its claws. And what it is like Akim Tamarov, for some reason, he's experimenting with atomic energy. And he wants to revive the skeleton of some guy who's buried in this graveyard, but the guy was buried with his pet vulture. So when Akim Tamarov tries to kind of merge his molecules
Tale
with
as old as time.
he tries to like atomically merge himself with the bones of this guy, but he doesn't realize there's a vulture bones in there. So he becomes this vulture monster. But the monster is literally it's Akim Tamarov's head on a big bird costume. It's terrible.
I
It
don't.
is-
It sounds
I
wonderful.
remember-
I haven't.
So it's-
Sean, I haven't seen this.
I remember. I don't remember. If it was either Creature Features. I think it might have been like when they would play the double
bill. Yeah, double
on
bill.
like Sundays or
Yeah.
Saturdays.
And it was
Right.
Saturdays. And it would be the second one.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the second
Right,
one was
right.
because I remember the sun was going down. Like I remember
Right.
the mood. And I remember like going like, okay, and it's in English. It has a hammer kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
You're hoping
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm, as a kid, you're like,
Yeah,
all right,
you're
the
wanting it. You want it to
vulture.
be cool.
What is this incredible vulture creature?
Yeah.
And then it's
And you don't
once
you
again
don't
it's,
see it until the very end, and it's a
Yeah.
quick
Are you
shot.
kidding?
It's oh my god!
and I remember it like it's like this bald guy.
It's Akim Tamaroff.
Yeah,
It's just-
and I just like, so it's like a vulture with Sergeant Bilko's head. Like, what the fuck is this?
And the thing is,
I remember being so let down.
Well, the movie is very talky. A lot of the action takes place off camera. It's this plotting movie.
No, that's a great.
And you know what's weird
choice.
though is that this was released in '66, and I think it was just a few years earlier, maybe '63, '64, that the Vulture villain premiered in the Spider-Man comics. And the original Vulture from the Spider-Man comics actually looks a lot like it. It's just a guy. I think it's a bald guy's head in a Vulture costume.
Are you serious?
So it's really it looks
Not
a
my
lot
favorite Spider-Man villain either.
No. Although
Especially
I thought,
that one.
I thought they updated it very well
Sure,
with
yeah.
Spider-Man:
Right.
Homecoming.
But the original one, you're like, I could
it's
kick
just,
this
yeah,
guy's
it's just an
ass.
old guy in a bird costume, and that's kind of what this movie was too. It's so a weird connection though. I wonder if like somebody thought, that'd be cool to make a movie like that. But it's such a bad movie.
It's
like
terrible.
So I've never seen this. Are you? So you're not recommending this?
No,
to me?
no,
I mean,
no.
you're not saying,
It's,
hey,
again, it's that kind of setting where at Cornish Village, the '60s, some familiar faces in the cast. I think the actress
It'll lead you to think that it's good.
it's that kind of ultimate disappointment. Like you said, it's the kind of movie you stay up late to watch when you're a kid, and like you're going to see a really cool
if you want to see
vulture creature at the end.
a shittier version of the Gorgon.
Yeah. I mean,
I was
even the Gorgon
really
at least, but at least there's something. At least
I
there's
was
a monster
disappointed with the Gorgon.
There. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Silly.
It's an old
There
woman
were
with
some,
snakes. in
yeah,
her
The
head.
snakes
but you know
that are like
Yeah.
from the 99-cent store.
on a total,
But
not
the mood,
to jump
the
off.
mood and atmosphere of that movie is great, though.
Because when there's a guy who looks at her briefly, and as he slowly turns into stone.
Right,
I found
right.
that to be very
That's kinda
creepy.
cool.
I was disappointed with that film, Matt, but it sounds like it was at least better than this.
It is
the
it is
Vulture.
It's like-
way better than the Vulture.
Like we mentioned the reptile earlier, at least like the reptile.
The
you
reptile.
have a cool, really unique makeup.
She's
it's like a reptile
yeah.
woman. It's cool. It's like that's
Yeah.
what you want something, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like wow, they really blew it.
That's a great one.
Nice one, Sean. So I am not going to see the Vulture.
Right.
Okay, Matt.
I have it on DVD
James-
if you want to watch it.
Yes.
Go again.
No,
It's your turn,
No,
Matt.
it's your turn.
No, I'm kidding. See, I tuned him out again.
Oh, wow. Do you need a moment? Do we need
Okay. Now, here's one that I think everyone agrees with, and I'm surprised we haven't really talked about. I don't think we've talked about it really ever,
Right.
but Teenagers from Outer Space, 1959.
Yes.
And from what I read off of like Wikipedia, it said it was originally titled, and I love this. It was
Yeah.
originally titled "The Ray Gun Terror."
Ooh, wow.
No, look, it's a
terrifying.
great poster. Think about it, listeners. Teenagers from outer space,
Right.
And there's this great picture of teenagers. There isn't like a guy getting zapped, and you see him as a skeleton.
Yeah,
or
the
something.
skeleton stuff is cool. They
Well,
turn
yeah.
people into skeletons with the ray guns. Ray gun terror.
But what's great is that budgetary concerns in this film were addressed with like, "Hey, let's go to the 5 and dime. We got 10 minutes. Yeah, get that skeleton and get the." You know. But see,
the
the skeleton is fine.
Right,
The
right.
skeleton is obviously a fake skeleton.
It looks like a skeleton.
It's fine, whatever. Okay,
Skeletons are
I will-
cool.
I will go along with that.
Okay,
Right.
But part of the plot is that they want to eradicate, these teenagers want to eradicate all human life so they can grow these like lobster-esque creatures on the earth, giant lobster characters.
Gargons.
Gargons. They're named Gargons. Yes, correct. But when I say lobster-esque, what I mean is lobster. They are just lobster.
Not even that. It's like a silhouette of a lobster.
Silhouette. What they did, they superimpose a live lobster.
Yeah.
That's like
terrible.
you can, and I'm assuming this lobster had been out of the tank for over an hour because they're like they're like barely moving.
Yeah, you can almost see a hand in the corner.
Yeah,
nudging it.
they're like kind of like floating
Yeah.
because there's no center of gravity for the lobsters to actually be sitting or
right. Yeah.
crouching on anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and thinking, okay, that's illegal. You can't do that. You can't. That shouldn't even be allowed. Like that is beyond anything I've ever seen when it comes to bad special effects.
It was the
Yeah,
50s. It was a
but
different
that's-
time.
that was bad.
you
But
know?
I mean, like even a movie like Beginning of the End with
Yeah.
the giant grasshoppers that
Oh
are
my
Right.
real grasshoppers just crawling across a
Right.
picture of a building.
Yeah.
yeah.
But that works better than this.
Yeah, I agree.
When you've got these superimposed silhouettes of lobsters, and then you got somebody going, ah!
Yeah.
The only other time that I felt that shortchanged in a movie was it would be years later when Sean showed me the Mighty Gorga
Oh
Yeah,
yes, that definitely.
with the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh my god, it's literally like a 5 and dime plastic dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. Then MST 3000 has
They did a little.
parodied,
Yes, they did.
parodied this,
Right.
but it's beyond
Yeah,
terrible.
But
it's really disappointing because, like
Yeah.
you said, you have the guys in the spacesuits
Yeah.
and you have skeletons.
Yeah,
you expect
that's cool.
They're
That's- I
build
like
up to
that.
the monster.
Yeah.
You want
and
something.
like anything else.
Anything else?
If you
Yeah,
would
yeah.
have
So you
anything else would have been better.
You hate lobsters.
I love what the
I
prob-
love it because I love a good lobster.
I love a good-
sir.
Hey, I went to Red Lobster on my birthday.
you
Okay.
go.
Oh, you do
That's
like
right.
lobster.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love lobster. And
Yeah.
to me, to see lobsters defamed in this way,
True, true.
treated so shabbily,
Yeah.
It's true.
you know?
You know, not to get off the subject, but I do get excited
Please,
though.
please get
No, not to get off the subject really, but just really quickly. You know, when you hear about some fisherman caught this 40-pound lobster or like 50-pound lobster, he's really massive, and he's 100 years old, and I like it that what. Let that guy go. Let that guy go back in the sea.
Sure.
Let the little 5-pound ones get eaten. But let this big dude go out there and make more big lobsters. I get excited when I hear about that.
That's a great story.
Or when they find the blue lobster.
That would have been a better story than Teenagers from Outer Space.
Okay.
All right.
Go.
Well, that's
That was
great,
mine.
Mr. Lobster Man. All right. So James, back in your corner here.
Wow. All right, this might be controversial again.
Of course.
Is it my turn again?
Are you no? Are you going to tell us something about something that you lied about? In a previous episode?
No. But on the first episode, I brought
Very
up.
first episode.
Yeah, well, I brought up Universal's The Mummy.
Yeah, and you
All right,
lied.
franchise,
I remember.
franchise.
I remember
As
that.
how I thought that, considering that it was part of the whole Universal monster canon and that it was a major monster, that it was a little bit lame because it was so sluggish.
I agree.
I'm going to take a similar approach now to another sacred cow, and this is another Universal canon monster that maybe is pushing it a little bit, and that's
Abominable cow.
the Invisible Man.
Oh, you've got to be
No,
kidding
no,
me!
no, look,
You've got
look.
to be kidding
As
me!
a worst
Let me
monster?
As a worst monster?
Let me
No,
explain.
I want to hear. I want to
Let
hear.
me explain. Look, the original.
Are you on crack?
The original James Whale movie is fantastic.
Claude Rains,
Claude
sir.
Rains is great. James Whale is a great director. It was an H.G. Wells novel.
What was the date on that?
It's like 1932? Yeah.
Right.
And the special effects were, totally ahead of their time. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
But after that, okay, Invisible Man Returns, Invisible Agent, Invisible Woman, it was a comedy. Abbott and Costello, it went almost right to parody because in the very first movie, for all its greatness and all its virtues, at the end of the day, that monster, the exploitation of it relies to a certain extent on the gimmickry. Like, okay, in the H.G. Wells book, Griffin was a psycho. The potion made him power hungry and crazy.
Right.
yeah.
And that
You know that, Matt?
that worked. That worked for that movie. But almost every treatment since then, has been a little bit forced. It's like, well,
I thought that, they did some interesting stuff with it. I
Yeah.
like the Invisible Agent because it's like wartime and he's fighting.
Yeah, me
he's
too.
I do like that
secret
movie.
agent.
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Lorre's in it. I think he's doing something different with it.
yeah. I, for all of that, it's just okay. I have to qualify it. It's not worst monster. It's not as bad.
Which is the topic of our discussion
So of
today.
all monsters,
But-
you have to bring up that one.
It's relative. It's relative because this is considered one of the big universal monsters, and I don't know that it really deserves that distinction.
Okay.
No.
Almost every other treatment of it is just not anywhere near the original.
You can't blame the original monster for the sequels that came after.
Yeah.
it's true.
Because the first one is one of the greatest horror movies.
It really
It's-
is.
Do you know
but you could make the same argument for The Mummy. You can't blame.
It
the
is,
first one.
yes.
I would.
Yes.
I would argue that there are two mummies.
Yeah.
That's true. There's
first
Imhotep
mummy-
and there's Karis.
Yes, Karis.
Karis. Yes.
Kaiser.
PERCOSET.
Hey, I did say this would be controversial. All I'm saying is that I understand why it's part of the canon of Universal Monsters. I don't know if it really deserves to be up there with the Wolfman and Dracula.
See, I would say,
the original Invisible Man.
Yeah, with Claude Rains.
With Claude Rains, that character is so terrifying. The idea that he could be in the room with you.
Yeah.
And that he's stalking you. You're never safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Never safe. Never
movie,
safe.
He's so totally compelling in that first movie.
And all the things that they do to try to catch him, even they all link arms.
Oh my God, that's so great.
Surround where they think he's at, and
but
how
Matt-
he outwits them.
But Matt, that's not the first part of the film. It's like slowly but surely they have to figure out what can we do.
What can we do?
What can we do? And when you get to that point where it takes a village, where the group of they connect their arms together, that is a great, powerful scene. I thought the film was really powerful. My wife talked to me about it. The book is very scary. And she said when she saw that film as a kid, she was terrified. I don't know if that's really fair. I mean,
the sequels also came out much later. I think the original was 33, and the first sequel wasn't until 40. So it was like they were. I think that by that point they were kind of doing the assembly line sequels. Like the Mummy and
there's also that scene, in in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein when you have the invisible,
played by Vincent Price.
Yeah,
but also Arthur Franz plays a boxer who's gets the Griffin formula in Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man.
That I'm not a fan of. But.
I think it's still fun for an Abbott and Costello film, but
if you're saying Invisible Man as a monster on the whole is a worse monster, I can't agree with you with that.
Maybe just overrated in a way.
Hollow Man. Hollow Man. There I would say is a not great.
That's with
Invisible Man.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of Invisible Man treatments. It's almost like it depends almost too much on. What is the contrivance this time? And that it makes it a little bit tiresome to me, honestly. Okay, in Monsterpalooza, there's a T-shirt vendor.
Yeah.
And he's got some really great, monochromatic T-shirts of different classic Universal monsters. And one of the most impressive ones was the Invisible Man with this great, lettering from the original movie. And that was a really neat T-shirt. But for all...
It's invisible.
My point is, as impressed as I was with that T-shirt, I'm not going to buy that T-shirt because it's a fucking Invisible Man.
You're ashamed to buy the T-shirt?
What the fuck is happening to this show?
What's going on?
When I'm the voice of reason. So you're judging the film franchise on the
you wouldn't buy a
T-shirt that you wanted to buy?
Okay, look.
Would you buy a Yongery T-shirt?
Wait.
I would consider a Yongery T-shirt.
Wait.
Yes,
Can I just say something here?
Sure.
It's like maybe this character that you're saying you should have brought up on our overrated, underrated show, but not on the worst monster show. That's what I think.
I told you it was being controversial.
All right.
And you were right.
It's
Although
true.
I will say that there was...
No, you're done.
No. I want to circle back because
Circle back?
To the beginning of the show?
to the first episode. No, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I
was going to bring that up
because he brought the Holly Griffin character back to its roots.
I like that character in that one.
And made him, again, back to being this power-hungry bastard.
Mm-hmm.
So the character is great.
The character, as originally conceived by H.G. Wells and the James Whale film, they're great.
Well,
everything after that,
and it should be bad. There should be worse sequels then. The sequel again.
So I'm going to judge Godzilla by watching those Godzilla cartoons.
Revenge.
Right.
With Godzuki.
The Hanna-Barbera ones.
Yeah.
With Godzuki.
That would be unfair, wouldn't it?
well, it would be controversial.
Okay, I can't.
You know what?
You're hurting my
Matt,
Percocet.
Matt, sometimes we just can't.
You can't do it. Yeah.
No. So it's what if it's invisibility that you don't like? Is that it? Because
I think it's a little
because in Miss Peregrine's
Peregrine's
School for Peculiar Children, there's a little kid that's invisible, and he's great. He's terrific.
What about the Invisible Man in Mad Monster Party?
Well, that's enough. As much as I like Mad Monster Party, it's sort of like, okay, he's invisible, he's wearing like a fez, but other than he's trying to imitate Claude Rains, and I guess it's Paul Frees or somebody.
Yeah.
What else about him is that interesting?
Because he's invisible, maybe?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, go. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. So
Hurting my head now.
I know. I'm so I'm not
I'm
sure.
gonna
which
need another
one.
back surgery after that one.
All right. Well, let's go into something where I know we're all going to agree.
All right, we'll see.
We're going to agree on this.
That'll
one.
be interesting.
Okay. it's interesting. I love the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Do you really?
I love him.
I've heard
and
that.
we did this wonderful Creature from the Black Lagoon show, but a lot of movies after that tried to strike lightning in a bottle and tried to make another pseudo creature, and hopefully they'll strike it rich, and I'm talking about in 1964, which was 10 years after The Creature, directed by Del Tenney, the Horror of Party Beach, the funny fish creature with hot dogs coming out of his mouth.
They do look like hot dogs.
Well,
what are they supposed to be?
So
though?
happy that you brought that up.
But what are they supposed to be?
Well, that's just it. I think it's kind of I don't know if it's like
dogs.
it's
They're like
no.
weird,
Okay.
like-
So for listeners, if you're not familiar with this film, The Horror of Party Beach, I'm not saying go and see this.
I think it's a really fun movie, though.
But Sean likes it.
I do like it, too.
These guys like it. I do not, because I'm insulted. I'm insulted when I see this monster.
I think there's a trashiness to it that's really attractive.
Yes,
Sleaziness, too.
Yes, sleazy. Yes, you like
Sleazy,
sleaziness.
trashy, yeah.
Yes, I know you like the sleazy, trashy stuff. But this monster, it kind of looks kind of like pseudo creature. They try to put scales on him, but the scales look they're big. They're kind of hokey. He's got this giant fish fin
Cartoony
head,
face,
cartoony
kinda.
head.
We have
and
one
this,
with
and
us.
yes, and he's got this big kind of like frog type mouth. And here's the thing that bugs me, Sean. It's like, what is this crap in the mouth? Because the mouth is kind of open and it looks like he's got a bunch of hot dogs. Why not make it with the mouth closed that you could open up?
Yeah.
You know,
it's
and
weird.
if you
supposed to
had
be like-
sharp daggered teeth or something like that.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be like tentacles or something?
Yeah.
That are
Oh,
like
yeah, but
Sea anemone.
yes, but
what do they call it?
Matt,
Is it cilia?
But Matt,
Where-
it doesn't look like that though.
Yeah.
See, you're being Mr. Intellectual, Mr. Science, and you're saying, well, it's supposed to be these little tentacles that come out. But that's not what
But then
you
there
see.
must have been some
Now,
logic
I will say
behind it,
this
though.
to back up what Larry is saying. They made a toy of this creature.
Yeah, a pretty cool toy.
A pretty cool toy, and this is how much they were ashamed of the original monster. Is that their toy actually got rid of the hot dogs.
They did.
It's like a totally screen accurate figure. But
Everything
then,
else
yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
Except for the mouth, they gave him scary teeth.
Yes.
As opposed to the hot dogs. Now, I would like to. I want to make my own little hot dog like appliance that I
Yes.
can because
To make it exactly.
I kind of want it to be what it was in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what's weird too is like the part I like the best in that movie is when the toxic chemical whatever spills in the water. And there's a skull, there's a skeleton, and you see the skeleton start to turn into the monster.
Yeah.
I think that's a creepy scene.
That's really cool.
With the music.
Yeah, that's actually cool. But then it becomes
Yeah. So the story is kind of like
Yeah.
this guy who's like a adventurer dude, and
Yeah.
he says, oh, we're gonna go out and check for these sea creatures or something, or he starts killing. God, I can't even remember
It's
now.
just some people and some monsters,
and it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely
There's some hot
ridiculous.
chicks in it though.
Yeah,
doing
but
dancing to the surf music.
There's a lot of great songs in that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing for listeners. It's the idea behind this film. It's kind of a cheap, quick film
Yeah,
that
it's
it was like a
60s,
second bill.
like
It was
teenager drive-in.
This was something in a
Yeah.
drive-in. It was the second
Yeah.
billing film or whatever, and it had some sexiness or sleaziness for the teenagers. Stuff.
cool surf
It had a monster
music
which was
on the beach.
ridiculous. It was,
Yeah.
and I do think this is a worse monster because on one hand, Matt, I feel like it's kind of like they didn't go 100%. They kind of it's a full body outfit, and it's got a head. It's got these hot dogs in there. It's like, why didn't you guys? You could have made sharp teeth. You could have made that mouth open and close.
But see, here's the thing, though, is that with that costume, I feel like it's not the hot dogs that makes it look silly. It's the big goofy eyes.
Yeah, it's the eyes.
That's true too. Yeah.
We kind of talked about this about non-blink, like with Salacious Crumb, the non-blinking eyes.
And you know what's funny too is there's another similar movie called The Beach Girls and the Monster.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's kind of frustrating about that movie is that has kind of a similar monster, kind of a better version of the monsters from Horror Party Beach. But what's frustrating is it turns out to be fake. It's a guy in a monster costume, and yet the monster
I hate it when
costume.
that happens.
But the monster costume is cooler looking, better looking than the real monsters in Horror Party Beach.
Did they make a monster? Did they make a figure of that
No,
one?
and they should. They
See,
should, 'cause
that's the one that they
pretty
should
cool
make.
monster.
Yeah.
So that was like frustrating.
Well, would you guys agree with me about that though? Or you're on a line?
I still,
I'm on the
I still
line.
really
I'm on
enjoy
the line
movie, though.
because I cannot disagree with anything that you say.
Yeah.
But I still have a love for this monster. Also, because, as I'm sure you are very much aware of, that was the first movie on Creature Features.
Really?
I did not know that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But you know what's funny? Now that you said that, can you now understand why Sean and I like Reptilicus?
No. Because with Reptilicus, it's the same insult to injury happening again and again. This shitty,
Marionette.
This marionette that spits out this goo.
Yeah.
And what's great about Horror Party Beach is the fact that there is not just the monsters, but there's sexy girls.
Yeah.
There's some fairly bloody killings.
It's pretty, some
Yeah,
horrific
for back
killings.
then, yeah.
Horrific killings.
It's kind of shot in a kind of nice, stark black and white too.
Yes,
it looks kind of has a cool
and
vibe.
I
to
love
it.
the teenage stuff.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
the
Well,
beach
hot rods.
party
Well,
and
okay.
the fighting and
Well, say that if you may, but I still love Reptilicus. So
that's all right.
Sean, it is
All
now
right.
in your corner.
This one, I think you guys would agree on. Just a pretty lame monster. This is from 1943 with Bela Lugosi, The Ape Man. Cheap monogram film.
Yes.
And Lugosi is a typical mad scientist who's experimenting with like apes or whatever, and somehow he's turned into an ape man. And the ape man that he turns into is literally he has sideburns and a beard.
And a beard.
That's like he just hasn't shaved, and he kind of walks with a hunch. He just that's literally it. I mean, it's.
sounds similar to Sayer of the Law, right? And
But that had actual makeup.
makeup all over it.
No, but
this
Sean
just
is right. It's just sideburns and a beard.
It's kind of like, that's
But
all
you know
he
what's
is.
funny? Sideshow could have easily made a figure of the ape
That's
man.
true. They never made an ape man.
No,
figure.
because it's like they had the mold for the head.
That's
you know,
true,
why not?
yeah.
Why not put the beard and the sideburns
The
on
movie
it?
is luckily in the movie you do have a regular typical ape.
you do
so
have
you
an
have
ape
your
in there,
classic
yeah,
kind of 40s ape costume running around with Bela Lugosi doing killings and all that. But
then
as
you're always comparing the two.
yeah.
See, and
it's like you didn't even have to bother having
I wanted to
Lugosi
see.
as the
I
ape
wanted
man.
to see the big
Yeah, or like
brow.
a prosthetic on the nose or
just
something.
Well, wouldn't he look
something.
like Lugosi from the Island of Lost Souls?
Well, yeah,
That's what I was
It would have been
saying.
better.
Yeah, but like,
Now he's falling asleep doing what I'm saying.
although I wonder if
It's okay. Sean and I will just.
I wonder if Lugosi maybe like is like I can just emulate this with my acting and maybe without any makeup. I don't know, but like or being monogrammed, they probably just didn't have any money.
Right.
But it's just very disappointing.
I do
because-
not need makeup. I will just let everything grow out.
It's just it's pretty bad. It's like literally just little hair
It's
appliances.
disappointing. You know what's
yeah.
funny, Sean? I wonder if Jack Pierce would have said, "Hey, let's throw a giant nose on him and some big brows."
But this wasn't. This is monogram.
Oh, that's right. It was a monogram.
So this was
That's
like,
right. No.
They had $10.
that would have been
They had
weird.
$10 to make the whole movie.
You know, Sean, you're right. It's like it's
Yeah.
a shame. It's a shame because I think if they just did a couple things,
a
just
little bit.
not a lot.
Yeah, something.
I mean,
something.
I hear myself.
Teeth even like.
I hear
something.
myself saying, "Well, you don't have to do much." I go, "Yeah, we didn't do much. We put sideburns and a beard on it." But
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
just something on the face. 'cause
Yeah, right.
I needed something on the face.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with you
The
100%.
title,
How many
the title
times
of the
have we
movie
all
is-
said that?
No,
The title of the movie is The Ape Man.
the Ape Man, and
you
so
better
I,
deliver.
if for listeners, if you like, Bela Lugosi,
Yeah, it's like
that's-
it's your kind of typical 40s monogram programmer.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's like that's the kind of movie that's been in like public domain
for years.
you can get it.
But
But
I would not recommend it.
It's like
exactly.
about an hour long. It actually has a very strange ending too, because throughout the movie you see this kind of creepy, weird guy who's like guiding the characters into what's going on. And at the end, he turns to the camera and goes, "Hey, I'm the writer of this picture." Screwy idea, ain't it? Yeah, I swear, it's bizarre.
It's stupid.
really strange.
It's stupid.
It's crazy.
It's almost as bad as like
But that's kind of a worse one.
in the bad seat at the end when they go, "Wait a minute,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
still not over yet." That's
Yeah.
oh, I hated that. All right.
All right.
Well, this has been great, but I would love to keep going.
now you're just fucking with my head. now I don't know what to do.
Well, what do you say we got? What do we do? What do you say we do a lightning round, huh? Because this has been fun. This has been great. Let's
do a
throw-
few more each.
Yeah,
Let's do a few
let's do
more.
a couple more,
Let's do a
okay?
few more because I'm not fully asleep yet.
Well, I've got something that I'm gonna shake things up.
rapid
Okay,
fire.
all right.
Okay,
something.
all right, buddy.
So it's
So
me. Okay.
yeah.
Well, this is one I don't know if we discussed before, but I think it definitely deserves.
We just did 5 minutes ago.
probably, yes. But this is one that under this category it needs to be discussed because I'm on the fence with it myself. The movie is called From Hell It Came.
Matt, I have
Okay.
this.
You have it there?
I
Okay.
have this, yes.
1957.
Yep. Directed by Dan, is it Milner?
Milner.
Milner.
Yes.
Milner.
And written by Jack Milner.
Yeah.
No relation. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
And this is actually one of Sean's favorites. I think.
I do,
I do actually love this movie.
here's the thing. It's
From Hell It Came.
there's this island prince wrongly convicted of murder. He's executed, and this is all a plot by this witch doctor.
Yeah.
His body is then buried near this tree, and nuclear radiation reanimates the prince and the tree. So he is now this tree monster. So imagine like the trees in Wizard of Oz or
Yeah.
H.R. Puffin stuff.
Yeah, but
a
scarier.
super monster evil version of that.
Right,
and
right.
you are not kidding when you see like Monster
Yes.
Tree.
And the name, and also it has a name too. It's
Great
named
name.
Tabanga.
Tabanga.
Tabanga!
It was Tabanga.
Tabanga. And he's this tree monster. But the thing that makes this, now I love looking at, if this was someone's art project, I would go, that's fucking awesome. Right?
Yeah, if my kid made this at
Sure.
school, you go, hey,
or
that's,
even like one of our special effects friends, like,
Yeah.
I got this idea for an evil Halloween-looking monster tree. I'm like, go for it, creepy.
Yeah, right.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But as a villain in a movie, now we're not talking Groot here.
No.
We're not talking about something that's agile.
No, and you're not
Right.
talking like from like Lord of the Rings,
No.
you know,
Right, right.
the
No.
Ent, you know,
Right,
no,
right.
because those are cool. This,
This is something that you could get away from if you just strolled a little faster.
it looks like something from a Warner Brothers Chuck Jones
Yeah.
cartoon, Matt.
It looks like every time it walks, it looks like it just learned how to walk.
It does look a little like the Grinch.
Yeah, it looks like it's always going to fall over. And I'm sure it did a number of times.
Yes, yes.
But this is supposed to be the scary monster that's killing everyone and wreaking revenge on anyone that did it wrong. But as a monster that I'm supposed to be scared of in a movie, doesn't work at all.
no,
See, so I'm
no.
kind of torn by this because I
And
I
I
know
am
what
too,
you're
obviously.
saying. Because here's my take on this is that this is a creation by Paul Blaisdell,
Yeah.
who did a lot of the Roger Corman films. The thing about Blaisdell's creations, if you look at Tabunga, if you look at the She Creature,
The She Creature,
The Day the Road Ended, The Mutant,
which is on my list. The Beast from a Million
The Beast from a Million
Eyes.
Eyes, but they're crude. But like I guess looking at it from a little kid's point of view, they're almost like they're out of a little kid's nightmare. Like as a little kid, they're kind of scary and cool, and like that's how I view them. Because like yes, they are very kind of ridiculous looking in a lot of ways, but there's something about them they're still kind of imaginative.
I completely agree.
You know what I mean? It's like
I still love the monster. The
Yeah.
problem is, I think the real problem might be with the filmmaking, not as much the monster.
Sure, the way
because you
it's
could have shot
portrayed.
this thing in a
Yeah,
way that
right.
didn't look like it was going to fall over.
right,
every
right.
shot.
Closer
Yeah.
shots, more in
Like
shadows.
if we could bring the Zuni fetish doll
Yeah.
Right.
alive and make that thing look like it's scurrying across the floor,
right,
Yeah.
right.
You could do the same thing with Tabanga.
You know, you bring up a really good point, Matt. Maybe it's not fair. Blaisdell was very creative. He
And
didn't get a lot of money.
He did a lot with
and
very little.
Yes,
Yes,
and
he
it's
did.
true, and he did a whole full body outfit. You
Yeah,
know, which
very
is
elaborate.
You know, and some of these other films that I've listed, it's a headpiece or like hands or
right.
He did these full
Yeah.
body things, and it's true. And
Very
you know,
ambitious,
Matt.
this
I
is.
think you bring up a
Very.
really good point. Maybe under a different director with some lighting, and the funny thing is, it's not like it has to be in silhouette, but there could be some really cool things. But because that wasn't shot that
They were
way,
low budget
Right.
Do you know-
movies.
okay,
with- yeah.
Shot- it's
Okay.
very stark.
It's dark. And
Yes.
do you know? Remember when Bugs Bunny in like there's this in these cartoons where there's this giant monster. He's all red and furry.
Sure,
he's kind of
sure.
got these big
Yeah,
shape.
yeah, the big-
what's that guy's name?
Yeah.
But it's like. When I see this tree creature, it kind of reminds me of him because he has that
Almost
kind of similar
cartoonish.
shape,
Yeah, yeah.
and also the eyes, Matt. If Blaisdell had made different eyes, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
The eyes are kind of too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, maybe I'm being too critical. I understand what you guys are talking about. There is something that is charming about it.
And
the first time, but you know how I am about when I was a kid and wanted my monsters
So when
seriously.
you're a little kid at 1 o'clock in the morning, you watch this thing. It's kind of like out of your nightmares. It's like, whoa, this
But
is
see,
a
that's
tree
not
thing.
how I felt. I felt I was insulted, because I
think
wanted.
I saw it young enough though, but also I think
Like, if you were
and,
two.
and these movies, think about it, like Blaisdell's monsters though were the draw of these movies. You know what I mean? Like those are why you went to saw these movies.
And I
is the
like
monsters.
I
you know?
like pretty much every one that he ever did.
the she creature is so bizarre. Like,
Well, didn't he do
it's-
Invasion of the Saucermen?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
to me, those are my
kind
favorites.
of iconic
Those are
looking
great.
bug-eyed monsters.
They are the 50s iconic,
Yeah,
big-headed
yeah.
alien. Similar to Metal and a Mutant, but different. They're
But also the concept of the monster is strange, and there's things that you would need to do within the story of this movie to give it that menace, like to make it more like, say, the Swamp Thing, where you have roots and
Yeah.
he can control other types of bushes
Right.
and plants and everything.
Just
like
something
that.
like today, if they remade, they could.
Yeah,
probably
but
do
the,
it,
the
you know.
idea that he is a tree,
Yeah.
which we recognize as something that just stays in one place.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
then when you're showing it move, it might as well be in one place
right.
right.
or have a walker. Right? It doesn't work. But
From hell it walked.
from hell it will eventually come.
Well, that's a good one, Matt. I mean, you bring it up as a monster that goes in our worst monster category. I would agree with you. I understand that you have
Sure.
these things.
Still- I
you
still like it, though.
You
There's
still
great
like
affection
it,
for it, but
and
yeah.
I get it. I understand that, and I see that.
All right.
James,
I'm
this
gonna,
is controversial.
well,
The Wolf Man,
I don't know.
Dracula.
Godzilla,
I don't think we've ever.
Frankenstein. No, I'm sorry.
I don't think we've ever discussed this movie before, so I don't know how you guys where your take is on it. But this goes into science fiction and
Okay.
aliens.
Okay.
After Gremlins, Joe Dante followed that up with a movie called Explorers.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I agree to hear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for the first, say, 90 minutes of this movie, it's a pretty earnest kind of a
Yeah.
UFO chasing movie with Ethan Hawke and a couple of young kid actors. And then finally, they get onto the UFO.
Yep.
And the alien creatures on this UFO are the most fucking ridiculous things I've ever seen. And suddenly it's almost as if someone comes out behind the curtain and goes, hey, this is just a goofy send up all along.
The movie
Totally agree
takes
with
a
you.
big turn there. It's like
Totally
what
agree.
the
It's like two
fuck?
different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my, I was like 20 years old at the time. I'm sitting there with my jaw open. It's like, what the fuck?
Isn't the first thing the alien says because they're emulating
Yeah.
TV, so they say,
signals
"Man,
that
what's
they
up,
get."
Doc?"
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah,
And
I almost got up and walked out.
that moment is
At that moment, Sean?
Yeah,
That moment is where Joe,
First time ever. Any movie ever.
where Joe Dante's career probably jumped the shark at right that second.
We'll get
right.
him on the
Yeah.
show. We're going to ask him
Yeah.
about that. You can talk to him about
but
that.
you're right
Okay,
because up to that point, I really liked the movie. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of
Me
like,
too.
I really
you're
liked what they
following
were
it
doing
along.
with it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, that was the decision they did, and I don't mind even the idea that like aliens know us only from like pop culture
'Cause I understand
That's fine.
that.
if
I
it's treated
understand that.
consistently with the rest of
Yes.
the movie, but
Yeah.
it just becomes
not the
this-
cartoony look.
It becomes a total
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah.
The,
It was
the
just
aliens
terrible.
have this ridiculous cartoony look,
Ugh,
and suddenly it's like, oh, we weren't supposed to take any of this seriously. What? I just
Yeah.
wasted the last
I
90
wonder what they were
minutes.
thinking as far as like why they think that would
He-
anybody would like that.
I
Yeah,
know,
I know.
I
It's-
know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one absolutely.
By the way, I just finally got around to looking up the name of the Warner
that-
Brothers monster.
Yeah, that.
Gossamer,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah.
Big
which
orange.
actually is a good monster.
yeah,
No. Well, he fits in the Bugs Bunny world.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
And I get that, and I love seeing him. But in this tree monster movie that you're talking about, I'm just saying that he kind of has that shape.
If the hell it came tree monster Nabunga.
Tabunga.
Tabanga. If Tabanga had tennis shoes,
Yeah,
could have changed the whole
that would have
movie.
been awesome.
Yeah. But I agree. Explorers is one of those things where it really threw me for a loop.
Yeah, and they had money too to spend. They were like,
They
it was a
did,
good
yeah.
looking movie.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the spaceship was cool, and like it was like yeah, it was
It
like,
had a neat poster.
it was like a
You know,
slap in the
little
face.
bike.
It was
Yeah,
just- yeah.
And like even if it's playing on cable, I won't check it out again. There's
Yeah.
just no point.
Yeah.
It just self-destructs.
It's too bad.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it's just it's a product of the times too, and maybe there was a thing that maybe Dante's feeling on it was he wanted to make a kid friendly thing. I don't know, maybe that, but
Actually,
see,
my college buddy at the time, his name was Mike DeLuca. He went on to become a big Hollywood producer. But at the time, we saw it together because we were both in school. And he said, it's Dante's big fuck you to Spielberg. And
What?
I
Wait,
didn't-
what?
I
could
didn't.
s-
I
oh,
did
I could
not,
see that maybe.
At the time, I didn't necessarily see it that way. It's like, why would he do that?
I don't understand that.
why?
Well, also
Why would he-
Spielberg, I
are they
think
not
Spielberg,
friends? He
like,
produced it.
Produced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why
So-
is that who's
you.
fucking who?
I know.
It's like, hi, thanks for producing my film.
I didn't see the irony in it.
I will
So-
show you. I'll make a shitty movie.
Or maybe it was
Yeah.
like, get off my set. I don't want to be treated like Toby Hooper on Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Is that what it was, maybe?
Maybe.
You know what?
know.
We're going to get Dante on. We're going to get down
All
to
right.
this. We're going to find out.
I'm gonna grill him.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I will. Okay, so I'm gonna change things up a little bit. We're gonna go to a black and white classic film because a lot of these
and
goofy
white.
ones, a lot of these goofy ones come from that time. But I really liked the concept of this movie. I really loved it because I just thought it was a really cool story. And this is from 1959 film directed by Roger Corman called The Wasp Woman. And
Okay.
and now before everyone goes, for listeners, no. Here, think about it. In our society, and even back then, it's
Wasp women just aren't treated well.
okay. No. It has to do. Think about it. We're always trying to do something to make ourselves look younger, look
Yeah, the
more
obsession-
beautiful. The
obsession with
obsession of
beauty and
beauty.
youth. Sure.
And so here you have.
Just don't even get me started.
Okay. So what's cool about this? You have this female executive in charge of this makeup line,
Jenna Starlin or
and
something, right?
yeah, a great character. And she's older, and she's got wrinkles, and she's trying desperately to try to. We got to try to find this.
Well, she's like starting to go. She's been like the face of the cosmetics of her
exactly.
company, but now she's getting older.
Yeah, she's
right.
getting older.
Now she's the ass.
No. She has this old chemist who's been working on this scientific stuff dealing with wasps and bees and stuff. And
Why do wasps always look so good?
But what's cool about it is the guys
Stingers don't crack.
No, you guys laugh, but it's a really neat concept. He gets the
it's-
serum that it's like there's something about it when injected into you, it tightens up your whole skin, and there's this
It's called
great.
an allergic reaction.
All right. That's very funny. Okay, but look, there's this great scene where she takes an injection of this, and it just makes her look beautiful.
Yeah, right.
And there's this really
20 years younger.
She's terrific, Susan Cabot.
Yeah, she was really
and
good.
she's great.
She was in a few Corman films.
Yeah. But she has this great moment when she's looking at the assistant or something. She goes, "How old do you think I look? How old am I?" I mean, she's really passionate. It's like
Just another day around the house for me here.
And they go, what, 22, 23? And she's much, much older than that. But the problem is it affects her to where late at night, or she starts to kind of evolve into this wasp type woman.
Right.
And here's the thing that bugs me. Okay, it's like the wasp.
Got a
woman-
wasp type.
the
woman.
poster. We were talking about the poster earlier.
The poster for the Wasp Woman is awesome.
Is great. It's like this giant body of a wasp with the face of a woman.
Grabbing some terrified guy.
And it's so freaking cool. That's what I want to see. I want to see the abdomen thing and the legs and stuff. But what you get is really, it's like a top headpiece, almost like a giant wig with little antenna.
Yeah.
And these giant
kind of mittens too. She kind of has mitten claws.
And it's like really, guys, really. But again, it's a Roger Corman film.
Right.
There's some neat stuff in it.
I do like the film,
But as far as a monster goes, Sean,
Yeah, it's a little
monster,
disappointing.
It's disappointing. Now, what's funny about this?
it's very similar in some ways to the Leech Woman too. Same idea. She
But
has
see,
this,
Leech Woman has, you see the old, she's got
which is cool. Right.
But what's funny is Jim Wynorski did a remake of it in 1995.
okay.
Now this is for Showtime actually, and it's like the Wasp Woman was actually a guy in a female insect costume, but
okay.
still,
But it was like an actual
They
monster.
went all out. It's still not the greatest, but that's what I wanted to see in that film.
Right.
So I'm going back to this one in 1959. I wanted to see more Wasp Woman than just Wasp headpiece.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're all in agreement.
I agree.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. How about that? Sean,
All right.
back in your
This one I
corner.
think you guys are all going to agree with if you've seen this movie. This is from 1965 called Sting of Death. This was...
Wait.
This is the jellyfish monster.
Wait. I'm not sure I know this one.
William Greffey directed this. It takes place in Florida. There's like this scientist experimenting with jellyfish.
That's on my list.
And his like assistant or something kind of is in love with this girl, and so he wants to go after her, and he starts killing people. And basically, it's a guy in like a scuba diver outfit. And then his head is just like a big kind of hefty bag blown up.
Imagine you know those like Mylar balloons you get at Ralph's?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Mylar with like
one that's
little,
kind of like deflated a little bit.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's just, but a huge one.
yeah,
and that's the
on
guy's
his
head.
And
Are you
with
kidding?
little like paper tentacles hanging off of it.
Oh, that's
It's
stupid.
pretty amazing.
It looks
That's-
like this.
Yeah, it's so bad.
That is ridiculous.
It's a pretty terrible movie. There is
So you are not recommending
No,
this.
although there is a Neil Sedaka song that takes place.
Oh, I like Neil Sedaka.
Was it written for the movie?
I don't know about that,
Sting of death.
but yeah, it's it's pretty crazy.
I love my jellyfish girl.
No, I like
each
that
and
song.
every day.
I like that song.
But yeah. So Sting of Death. I mean, there's as far as I know, there's only one killer jellyfish monster movie, and that's it. So, but it's maybe worth checking out just for the sheer
Well,
absurdity of
maybe
it.
can
you
I
know,
just
and
I
see.
can like type that in and then see a picture of
Yes,
it on the
yes, you
internet.
can
I
do
don't
that.
have to see the
it's
movie.
It's on a double. It's on a DVD double feature with Death Curse of Tartu. Just so you know.
Another classic.
Yes.
All right, shall we just like read off a couple?
Yeah. Go.
This has been fun, Matt. This
has been fun.
and we could go on and on.
And as a 100th, it's nice because I feel like we're, I kind of got that feeling of like that first episode again.
Yeah.
I feel the
No, this was better.
amateur nature of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-professionalism.
The name calling.
No, no one. No, no one called anyone names here today.
Oh, we're
I didn't say clown or anything like that.
It's true.
So,
But anyway, I
so
feel
we're
like
gonna whip through this.
we're gonna whip through it.
Throw out a couple more.
I need to throw out some Japanese ones.
Okay.
First of all, in Ultraman, there's so many great Ultraman monsters, and there's also, I would say, about an equal amount of crappy ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there are some that you just go, oh my God, this doesn't work at all. One of my least favorite Ultraman kaiju is this thing called Dodongo.
Wait, I don't know.
Dodongo
Wait, what?
has this weird connection to this like alien mummy creature that they find.
Uh-huh.
How is it a mummy and an alien?
I know, exactly. When the mummy is killed, this thing is released from a mountain, and what it looks like is, imagine like a cross between like a Chinese dragon and a horse. But it looks mostly like a horse, like a guy in a horse, like two people in a horse pantomime horse costume.
Uh-huh.
And it is the most ridiculous thing. And what I would hate about these creatures is when Ultraman would go to fight them, and you go like, well, this is going to last 30 seconds. This thing is a horse, and it's got wings, and it can't even. This doesn't fly. It has like just like ornamental. See that's yeah. It's ridiculous, and to the point where one of the things that Ultraman does to defeat the monster is he jumps on its back and rides it like a bucking bronco and wears it out. Yay!
Yeah. A horse as a basis for a monster isn't really
Doesn't work at all.
Doesn't work really.
Yeah. And so if we're going to talk about Ultraman, we also have to talk about Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider had countless crazy monster characters.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of my
Right.
favorite, but is a terrible... it's so horrible that it somehow works for me.
Yeah.
Is in Kamen Rider V3, there was something called the TV Fly.
The TV
The
fly.
TV Fly. And imagine, this is a character that it's like, imagine like it's a fly,
Yeah.
but instead of a fly head, it's got two television sets for eyes.
Why?
And like an old, and it's and like the knob
Yeah.
on an old television set is like where the mouth would kind of be. And I'll put a picture of this online.
Oh,
but-
please do.
but
Please
it is-
do.
We're looking at this is
Yeah.
the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
I think I have a figure that you gave me. At one
I'm
time.
sure I did because I'm in love with it and appalled by it at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, TV screen eyes, but it's a fly, and so instead of antennae,
Yeah.
it has TV aerials.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And like, woo, scary.
What was the Common Rider monster that was like a Bat Frankenstein? Is
Now-
that what
Oh,
was
Bat
that?
Frankenstein. No,
yeah.
that's good though.
That it looks so. Yeah, Bat
That's
Frankenstein is
believable.
cool. No. It's one of those things where you look at it, you go, "This is so great." But Matt just showed me a picture of this Fly TV thing, and it does look stupid.
It's stupid.
It's
And the idea that the height of technology was that you've got like a couple old TV consoles for each one is an eye, and you don't even have a remote control. You just got the dial.
He just gets
in the middle of
UHF.
your face.
Although, give the Japanese credit, those are flat screens.
They are. That's true.
you go.
They are flat screens. Very good point. And I'll round it out by just doing one more Japanese
round
thing.
it out.
All right.
And you guys will all know this. This is from the movie Gorath.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
okay.
okay.
Gorath, which is basically Toho's version of Deep Impact.
Or When Worlds
yeah.
Collide.
Or When Worlds Collide. Thank you.
Or Armageddon.
Or Armageddon, right.
True.
So, yeah, there's a comet that's approaching our planet. When the shit hits the fan and everything starts going wrong with the Earth, a giant walrus is released from a mountain
Yes.
and starts going in a rampage. Now, clearly, this monster was inserted there just to have a monster.
Right.
in it.
Right.
Right.
Magma was called.
Magma.
Maguma.
Maguma?
Maguma.
Oh, that was Magma.
I've got it as
No,
Maguma.
in Japanese, it's Maguma.
Do you know,
okay,
Matt, what was
okay.
the date on that, by the way? I'm curious.
That would be
60s?
1962.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and this
okay.
thing comes out, and it was funny because I would go through as a kid, I'd have these Japanese monster encyclopedias, you know, Godzilla monsters.
Yeah.
And you'd go through all of them, and you go, oh, there's Ghidorah, there's Hedorah, there's Rodan. And then you finally get to that one, you go, what the fuck?
Yeah, what movie's that from? Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're going to jazz up a movie, how about a cool monster? Because a big, cuddly-looking walrus?
But also, and also
Give
that,
me seals!
that segment though with the monster was cut out of the American release, so you don't see Magma or Maguma in the American version of Gorath. You only see it in the Japanese.
I have only
version.
seen the Japanese one because
Yeah.
that's what
Okay.
you gave me, James.
Yeah, it's cut.
Yeah.
It's cut out of the American.
did not know
version.
That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Why would they cut out like that?
I know the
part?
one little monster. Yeah, it's cool.
And it's a
Yeah.
walrus, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's a big old
Although
walrus.
the pure obscurity of it, I do like, and I do have a figure of it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Well,
Actually, my wife got it for me. I think for
Your wife's great.
I have one just out of spite.
right.
Matt, those are good.
So
Those
there you
are
go.
good.
I thought I'd add the Japanese element.
No,
to
I
this.
like that. I like that. Good job, because I agree with those. James, bring it home here.
This is a monster that I use the term loosely. This was adapted into a movie by George Romero from a Stephen King novel, but and it worked better as a movie. But the novel itself has an antagonist, a monster that is so completely ill-conceived that it goes on my list for worst monster.
Okay.
It's called George Stark, and the novel is The Dark Half.
Okay.
There's just like Stephen King had a pseudonym named Richard Bachman.
Right.
He wrote a novel about a writer named Thad Beaumont who had a pseudonym named George Stark, who wrote these crime novels. And George Stark was a hard-drinking, hard-smoking, really like lecherous jerk. And when the writer decides to come out and say, "Oh, this was my pseudonym," and they have this fake funeral for the
So they
pseudonym.
kill off
They
the-
kill off the
his
pseudonym.
alias.
Yeah.
But the alias decides that he doesn't want to be dead, and the alias crawls out of the grave. It's like, wait a second. This is your pseudonym. This isn't even like a ghost. This is something you made up, and you expect me to believe that now it's an actual thing?
Right.
It was so... I mean, King must have been on hard drugs at the time, and there was no way... His talent, for me, was always like he could make the unbelievable believable, like in Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, Christine. Even like the most unbelievable stuff, he was able to make it real. Here, like suddenly it was like, oh my God, this is awful. This doesn't work at all. It worked better as a movie.
Yeah, I remember the movie wasn't too bad. It was Tim
Hutton.
Hutton, right?
Tim Hutton,
Place.
yeah.
It was like
It was an Academy Award winner, mind you.
Oh yeah,
Just want to let you know that.
Sure, no, yeah.
Okay,
Math.
enough with that.
I'm just.
I don't want to hear any more of that.
But
Percocet says stop.
but the Dark Half was the book that made me, frankly, stop reading King, and I think, yeah,
Interesting.
and I just put
No.
it was like that.
too high concept, too
Bad concept.
Right.
But let me just ask you: you have gone back to King, have you not?
I went back. Green Mile was very good. There are some isolated instances where what he's written since then have been worth reading, but a lot of the stuff he's written since then, frankly, have not been worth reading.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
And Dark Half was the one where it was like, you can't expect me to believe this. This is a horrible concept, and that's why it's on my list. Worst monsters.
All right.
Dark half-assed.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Well, really quickly, I just want to do one movie, and then I'm going to do something kind of special.
Okay,
as
go.
far as,
Go, man.
a lot of these have been classics. I'm gonna when these monsters or alien type creatures, when you see them, they're hilarious. They don't look great. And I'm talking from 1954. This is directed by W. Lee Wilder. Killers from Space.
Yes.
And it's for listeners. It's one of those really bad.
He loves it.
Sean likes it. Are you serious?
Well, no,
Sean?
because this was a movie that I saw when I was really, really young.
Okay.
He had never seen a ping pong ball before.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
The ping pong ball, but there's one shot where Graves is driving. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing the eyes in the road, and
Okay.
it scared me.
So for the listeners, the aliens, these worst monsters, I think
they're pretty
these
bad.
guys. It's kind of like the suit that they're wearing. It's not a spacesuit. It's like spandex.
They're
that
like
kind of go around their-
pajamas, space pajamas.
Okay, so space pajamas, and then how does their face look? What is it? Well, what they do is they put these giant bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
And giant looks like ping pong balls.
Unmovable.
Unmovable
Just
eyes. And they do these facial expressions.
But you know
like,
what? It's so ridiculous
it is
that it's charming to me.
Sean, it's to the point of, as a kid, again, I was insulted. I'm like,
I was more insulted by, in the movie, they had the giant monsters who are going to attack the city, and they're just the iguanas and the little baby alligators like with fins on their.
Yes.
That annoyed me.
That was the next
but
thing.
I like the ping pong ball.
See, okay, now that's part of it. Then the second thing is, I don't mind the iguana. Because the iguana is no. Hear me out. No. Hear me out.
The title of your autobiography.
Okay, hear me out. Iguana's kind of unique looking. It's like dinosaur like. But look, the crocodile.
Yeah, it's just a little crocodile.
Look, it's a crocodile.
And I always feel bad for that because they have them fighting. They're really fighting.
They really fight.
Biting each other.
They put these little horns. They glue.
Yeah.
They glue horns on the alligator.
That's cruel.
And they actually have these two creatures fight, and they do this spin.
Yeah,
do you remember
it's
this spin?
cruel.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
And it
either.
makes me mad.
Yeah, that upset me.
So to me,
I wanted more ping pong ball eye scenes.
Okay. Well, those two are what I think is worst monsters.
Yeah, I
And
don't
then
like that either.
The one last thing, because I love toys. I have a huge toy collection.
Yes.
Very vast. There is one. Well, actually, I have a bunch of worst monster toys, but there's one in particular, and it's called the Magic Monster. And what's interesting about the Magic Monster is he's about 8 to 10 inches high. He's battery operated, and he has he's holding a little axe.
Okay.
And when you turn him on, his axe lights up.
Okay.
And the face of this monster, there's these 3 little prongs that move around, and there's a rubber face that's attached to it. So the face goes rah, rah, rah.
Okay.
So he rocks back and forth with the little axe light lit up. His face goes rah, rah, and he plays When the Saints Go Marching In.
What?
But when I saw this, and
I think I love this toy.
No. I saw
Weird.
this and I thought, this is, of all the monster toys that I have, I got this cool, like the booglins, the eyes move and rubbery and green. Here, this little guy plays When the Saints Come Marching In as he's moving back and forwards
With
and
his
with a
glowing-
lit up axe.
Wow.
And I think
That's
it's the
bizarre.
worst monster toy. But you know what's funny? It's a terrible monster toy, but I do love it.
So unique. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
I'll show a picture of it.
All right. I'm just gonna throw out. I would say
Bring us home,
worst
Sean.
monsters. I would say everything ever directed by Larry Buchanan.
Wow.
We're talking Zontar, the Thing from Venus.
Yeah.
Curse of the Swamp Creature.
Yeah.
Creature of Destruction. In the year 2889, and It's Alive, not the It's Alive that's
No,
later come.
let's be clear about that.
Zontar, the Thing from Venus is an unofficial remake of It Conquered the World, and Creature of Destruction is a unofficial remake of The She Creature. Talk about ping pong ball eyes. These are the bottom of the barrel, Poverty Row, Halloween costume monsters.
I haven't seen that one.
They're terrible. In fact, he kind of reuses the same monster suit in like Curse of the Swamp Creature, Creature of Destruction, and It's Alive. It's the same monster. Terrible. Just like even as a kid, you're watching like that is really disappointing and it's awful. So every one of his movies has a really disappointing monster.
Right.
And everything about the movies is disappointing too.
Well, thank
There
you,
you go.
Sean. Well,
Yeah.
this has been great.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I thought that we might repeat one, but I don't think we repeated one from our
think so.
no.
I don't think so. No,
Great
no.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we dug deep.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And we brought up some really interesting worst monsters. Some I'm actually interested in seeing, and some I have no urge to see. So
Right.
Now, this is our 100th episode.
100.
100th episode.
It's amazing.
And it really is kind of an amazing milestone. The fact that we've been consistent. We've done this every 2 weeks since we started.
Yeah.
4
Like
years ago.
clockwork. And we have really grown
Gosh, yeah.
We got
from where we first started, from talk about even before the
Before
podcast.
sound.
Before, oh, my
No, it's funny. I remember.
the tin types that we did of the show.
No, Matt, it's
Yeah.
funny because when we started, I was so excited that we got 100 listeners.
Sure.
I was
and
like,
now we're
oh,
back to that.
No, we guys, that's the amazing
Guys,
thing
I don't know what happened out there.
No,
but,
no.
Tune
For-
in as soon as you can.
No, for listeners out there, I mean, we've gone from something as simple as 100 to now we are like thousands.
The people we've got in the show, the filmmakers and the actors and actresses, people that we've idolized.
Yeah.
the guests
just-
that we've had, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all just something we just do out of passion. It's just something we do
Yeah.
for fun, and like
And
we've got to, it's
Through
pretty
the
cool.
people that we've met either at conventions or comic friends.
Yeah.
or
in
just-
alleys.
chat rooms. Yeah. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had some amazing people. I mean, I can't say that I have one specific favorite.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everything is like apples and oranges for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
at least. Every comic that we've had, I've
Yeah.
loved. And we laugh and we...
Like Jake Johansson was a
Oh, my
terrific.
God, sure.
I mean,
And Dana
yeah.
and Dave Higgins. I mean, the list goes on and
Yeah.
on and on and on.
Bobby Slayton.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to read off all our funny guests. Mike Schmidt, Ken Daly, John Matta, Mark Pitta, Kevin Avery, Bobby Slayton, Kevin Kataoka, Sue Murphy, Joe DeRosa, Graham Elwood, Dana Gould, Fred Belford, Ron Lynch, Jody Miller, Jimmy Pardo, Dave Higgins, Jackie Cation, Chris Mancini, Greg Travis, Jake Johansson, Greg Proops, Neil Gargiulo, Brian James O'Connell, Rick Overton, and Mark Hershon. We've had so many comics, and they've all been great. And then all the great celebrities we've had. Here we are in our condo.
Our
here.
studio.
Our studio.
Monster Party
And,
Studio.
you know,
And you have the likes of Denise Crosby.
Yeah.
I mean, that was...
Sure, and Jeffrey Combs and
Jeffrey
Walter
Combs.
Koenig
I mean, that
and
was...
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
William Lustig.
Stuart Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's list all the celebrities and special guests we've had on the show. Cooper Barnes, Roger Nygaard, Laura Ortiz, David J. Scow, Walter Koenig, Jeffrey Combs, G. Charles Wright, Phil Saunders, Rob Cohen, Des Dolly, Wally Wingert, David Dakota, David Duvall, Dana DiLorenzo, Ray Santiago, Joe Moe, Barbara Lee, William Lustig, Lisa Langlois, Brian Peck, David Weiner, Steve Banos, Josh Gilliland, Oscar Nunez, Robert Zappia, Ben and Nadia Robertson, Jessa Hinton, C. Courtney Joyner, Denise Crosby, Tim Thomerson, Tom Holland, Jordan Rubin, monster therapist Thomas Ray, Jolene Towers, Frank Dietz, Frank Woodward, Daniel Roebuck, Mark Tavares, Danny Mathers, Jules Shepard, Doug Jones, Dean Haglund, Derek Robertson, Megan Shadane, Ricky Bird, Stuart Gordon, Raquel Pomplin, Steve Walsh, Max Wassa, Taylor White, John Fasano, Susan Burke, Fong Sam, Erica Enders, vampire zombie rapper Waze, and PERCOSET. It's like we have our own Comic-Con every 2 weeks.
And the fact that there are people listening all over the world who we hear from and who are actually enjoying it. Because when we started this, again, like you mentioned, Sean, that it started as from our experiences at Comic-Con
Right.
and hanging out.
If the microphones were off, I think we'd still be doing this if we were getting
yeah.
together.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the
Totally.
thing. So it's like, yeah.
And I think that a lot of our loyal listeners are people who are fellow monster kids. And I've heard this kind of review of our show before, but it's like they all kind of wish they could be that fifth or sixth seat during the show. They they
Right.
feel that they're there with us. And that's exactly, I think, what we've always tried to make
Totally.
happen with
I
us.
think we've tried to make it clear too. Like some criticisms have said, "Oh, you guys talk over each other." It's like, look, again, folks listening. It's called Monster Party. You know, this is what
We
we're
never
like.
talk over each other.
No, it's like it's
not
Monster it's Monster
no,
Party.
no, don't go there.
It's Monster Party. We're having fun. We get passionate. We're excited. It's not like
drink.
Monster Interview, you know.
Right,
And yeah,
right.
we have cocktails where we eat
Well, we like
food
the
beforehand.
best is
you know,
the best balance is to have it be informational as well as just fun, hanging out, camaraderie. you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for if you want that type of podcast or if you want that type of interview, there's so many outlets that you can go to. There's DVD commentaries.
Sure.
There's so many
Documentaries
places where
and-
you
yeah.
can go if you want a very scholarly type of experience.
yeah, it's probably not as fun.
But it's not as fun. And
No.
I think what we do here is, dare I say, a little bit different.
yeah.
That we add an element of there's energy.
And sometimes, a guest might say something stupid and, I might call him a clown, that always happens.
Or you will say something stupid.
Oh, come on. Hey.
You will be treated accordingly. And that's part of it.
Yes.
And that's another thing, too, is, we couldn't make those jokes at each other's expense if we weren't actual friends.
Right, and all our guests have had a good time too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
And doesn't it seem like that it takes maybe just a few minutes for them to go,
Yeah.
oh, I get this.
yeah, right. Then they warm up and they realize, okay, this is
What I
this is
love,
cool.
and this has happened many times when a guest will come in and they go, so how long is this? Oh, hour and a half or whatever, and they end up staying longer than they end up having.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland's like 3 hours.
I remember Tom said to me at the beginning, so Larry, how long is this? I go, well, Tom, hour and a half, and he stayed for over 3 hours.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Combs,
right,
and
yeah.
the funny thing is, Tom had a great time. Jeffrey Combs had a great time. We had a blast. We were hanging, we're having cocktails, rubbing elbows, and telling
And lovely
great stories.
lovely Denise Crosby.
Denise
We didn't have to say anything. She
No.
was ready to go as long as we wanted
Well,
to.
the thing that I
right.
love about Denise too is it also, I think we're fun, we're relaxing, we're having a cocktails. Denise went through. If you listen to that interview that we did, or this conversation, she laughed. She cried. She got emotional. She got angry. There was when she was talking about the incident with the convention. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
And it only happens.
A lot of our
on
guests
Monster
have
Party.
talked about
Yeah.
stuff
And
that
you
they
can't
don't normally.
find- that you can't find in a
Stuart
magazine
Gordon talked
article.
about stuff about his films,
and
that
I
we
don't think that she would have gone there if she did not feel very comfortable.
super comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And she was such a we've had.
we have
just
so
about
many.
every
But that's
guest
again,
we've
we
had.
can, a lot of our success, I think, really has to do with the wonderful guests that we've had and how much they bring and are willing to trust us and go along with us on our tangents.
And there's a dynamic I think we have
Yeah.
with the four of us. That
Everybody
works.
brings their own,
Unique
gifts to the
Yes.
table.
And we're
Yes.
enthusiastic about this stuff, and we want to share it. And our guests, I think, they don't feel like we're challenging them necessarily. I think they just feel like we want to share information,
Right.
just like with our listeners.
Right.
That's what I like to share information.
Yeah.
Or I like to have you inform me about something I don't know.
Well, we want to, clue each other into stuff that, hey, this is cool. You might want to see it.
Right.
Or perhaps you don't want to see this.
Exactly.
But ultimately, this show has been about really just four friends getting together
Over their love for horror, sci-fi,
horror and sci-fi
monsters.
who genuinely like each other. And,
Kind of.
Hey, look, Percocet will not let me lie.
And speaking of Percocet and things that make us feel happy, I just want to say a special thank you to the
You're welcome.
spouses of each of us because
That's true. Yeah.
they have been so supportive of us
That's true.
getting
Yeah.
together. It's like, where you go? Oh, it's Monster Party night. That's right. Oh yeah, I
They
gotta go.
made sacrifices.
No,
That's true. It's like our poker night in a way,
or our bowling night.
Yeah.
My wife has allowed our dining room to be taken over.
True.
by
Right.
this
Right.
on
So,
numerous occasions when she has had a long week of traveling,
Yeah.
she'll come home and yet she knows
Too bad.
This is-
We're having a monster party.
she knows how important this is, and
Yeah,
she
yeah.
gets into it too. And if
She
anything,
does.
we'll keep her up late, not because we're keeping her up, but she wants to hang. She
Yeah.
wants to
Right.
Yeah.
experience this too. And
But a
yeah,
very special thank you to Carrie, Gina, Carrie, and Marie. Thank you
Yes.
so much, ladies. We love you
Yes.
all
Thank
so
you.
much. We couldn't do this without your support. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And now, if I could thank the pets.
Pets are very patient.
What's your dog's name?
Emmy.
Emmy,
Yeah.
who's been on the show briefly.
Emmy
Oh,
was on
that's
the
right,
show.
yeah.
That's right. My dog.
You might have heard that bark.
It was only because someone knocked at the door.
That's true.
But a lovely dog.
Yes.
And our cats, Frankenstein and Blue.
Yes, and our Gina and I's pets. We have Nova, our dog named after Nova from Planet of the Apes, of course.
Yeah.
Our cat Echo, and our tortoise named,
Gamera.
of course.
Wow.
James?
And our dog named Cherry.
There you go.
Okay. And then I'd also like to thank the chairs.
All right.
I've named them.
The table.
The one I'm sitting on is named Ralph.
I think Percocet needs to take a back
Okay,
seat.
no, wait a
now.
minute. I have a few more people to thank. I'd like to thank pizza, Chinese food.
Yeah.
True.
All right, this is great.
Anyway, all that being said, I think we can all agree that we would like to thank our listeners for supporting
Absolutely.
this show.
Yes.
And please support us for 100 more.
Yes.
And let's have a
Let's
toast.
Let's have a toast.
Right.
Hey,
toast.
another 100.
A toast to another 100.
Hey.
And to our listeners.
Yes, to our listeners. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for
Monster
listening.
Partiers.
Yeah. Woo. Monster Party.
Time for listener shout out.
Shout out.
This goes out to Scott Porter from the San Diego, California area.
Scott Porter.
San Diego.
Scott
I love
is
Scott.
the proud owner of a Monster Party cap.
Right.
He let us know that
It's a
he
high quality cap.
finally got around to buying one, and he wished Matt a speedy recovery.
Oh, you are so nice.
Want to also let our listeners who are attending the Chiller Theater show in New Jersey that they should go check out the Monsters Among Us booth, where they can find the brand new Monster Party flyer.
You're going to love it.
Right.
You will love this one.
A beautiful illustration by comic writer and artist Derek Robertson.
Derek Robertson.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Also, want to remind our listeners you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. On Twitter, we are at Monster Party HQ. Our Instagram handle is also Monster Party HQ. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear from you. And if you don't happen to live in the United States but would like to leave an iTunes review, we encourage
I thought you were going to say, and you would like to leave.
you just leave now. No, we would still encourage you to write a review because we can see those reviews because we do have access to a...
We have ways.
We have ways. So please go ahead, and we would love to hear from you from another country as well. Speaking of the Monster Party cap, you can find it on our eBay store, which is easy to remember, Monster Party Store. The cap is breathable and it has 17 billion stitches.
No, it doesn't have 17
Okay, it
billion
has some
stitches. fraction
fraction of that. But it is a beautiful accessory, and no monster fan should be without it.
It's a chick magnet.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear what you said, Percocet?
And I'd like to give a special shout out to our sponsors, the guys at Creature Features. Hey! Creature Features, located at 2904 West Magnolia Boulevard in beautiful downtown Burbank. Taylor, Eric, and Matthew, it's a great store where they have everything for all of your monster needs. It has models, books, CDs. It's got everything. They have these great art shows. If you go to their website, it'll give you all the information there about the art shows that they have coming up. You also find out what we're up to each week. So that's kind of
true.
cool.
On the newsletter.
On the newsletter. It's fantastic. So Creature Features, they're awesome. They also have an eBay store at C Features. And they've got a lot
Is my
of...
Percocet wearing off on you guys?
But they offer a lot of stuff on eBay, on their eBay store. Please check it out. I also want to give a special thanks to Time Tunnel Toys. Hey, Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in beautiful downtown San Jose. Joe and Sharon, their store is amazing because they have all kinds of vintage toys, all kinds of science fiction, fantasy, horror, monsters, kitschy stuff. But also what's really cool is every 4 to 6 months, they sponsor an antique toy show in San Jose. And it's so great. The last time I went, I picked up a few things. They actually had celebrities there, like Sam Jones from Flash Gordon. And it was just loads of fun. So check out their website too, Time Tunnel Toys. Great place.
Awesome.
Nice.
I would like to give a shout out, if I could, to Disc Surgery Center, where I had my spinal operation done. I am telling you, if you have to have this operation done. These are the guys to go to. Everybody was so great. My doctor.
Disc Surgery Center. Yeah.
Sanjay Khurana. Sanjay Khurana, my doctor. I'm telling you, he's like famous for this.
Is he?
Yeah, I
This is a
got like a
specialty.
great doctor.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the support staff were fantastic. They really, made sure that I was all juiced up.
Yeah.
And we're just wonderful people.
We got to do a show about this.
We will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will
We'll
be
mix
fun.
it, yeah, because there's a lot of like horror and sci-fi surgeries that we could talk about.
That's true. I like that.
Hey, so we've had 100 amazing episodes, and it's been an absolute thrill to do these shows with you. And I'm so excited about what the future holds in store for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, to our listeners, we do have a lot of really cool surprises that we've been working on. I mean, the next 100 are going to be.
We got projects planned.
we do, and it's very fun, very exciting.
Dozens and dozens of Reptilicus themed episodes coming up. It's going to be, I mean, everything you possibly want to know about Reptilicus. You won't believe it.
Look for us at Reptilicus Con at our booth. We'll be there with you and those 3 other guys. So, good times. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong!
Listen to the next 100 episodes of Monster Party.
PERCOSET will be glad you did. Yeah. So this is like the pre-party to the party, and then we'll have the post-party.
That's right.
Okay, can I ask another question? Are we at the end of this? Are we going to do something along the lines of, as this is our 100th, I just wanted to say
we could do
thanks.
some. Yeah.
And are we going to have like a little anecdote, like one of our favorite episodes, or it's like
Sure. We could always also put that stuff at the
As the extra
as the
stuff?
extras.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
if we
that
get,
idea.
yeah, we get into it. You're right.
I like that idea because I have a list of every show in case you guys wanted to look at.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I can get it on iTunes.
Yeah, thanks for that 2 seconds before we start to fucking record.
Does that list include the shout outs?
You look so wounded.
Can I take a look at that?
Yeah,
Includes the shout out?
it includes the shout-outs. You want to take a look?
That is helpful.
You have to
Did
look.
you write this up?
I did. I created
Oh.
it.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't. Yeah.
What is this, like an Excel spreadsheet or something?
Wow.
It's an Excel spreadsheet.
Wow.
You're like Kevin Spacey in 7, but for good.
Isn't it neat? It's.
This is actually cool.
I try to. It's the update is.
Good thing that font is really big.
Oh my God.
Wait, you don't like the font?
No, it's fine.
Well, dude, come on,
No, I can enlarge
come on,
it.
it's
No,
a
it's good.
lot of
It's good.
Did you write this on a grain of rice?
Okay, all right. Well, very funny.
No, this is cool.
Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
so.
How do you like that? We haven't even started, and yet I have to go to the bathroom.
That's okay.
Does the meds like make you go more or something too?
Well, I've been taking stool softeners,
Oh.
and those. Oh man.
Tonight's episode: best and worst stool softeners in
No,
horror and
yeah.
sci-fi.
I say they're all good. It's like trying to choose between your favorite child. All stool softeners are my
But
friends.
see, you shouldn't have a favorite child. That's the important thing.
See, there you go. That was kind of the point that I was making.
Okay.
One of my favorite children is your child. Did you know that,
No,
Larry?
She.
I'm very fond of your child.
She's awesome.
Thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, she's.
Since I'm on Percocet, you're going to get a lot of emotion that you might not normally get from me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've always liked your eyes.
I only have one thing, and that is so I don't
James?
get I don't get headphones.
You have very supple skin.
No,
No,
we thought for
no.
the special 100th episode.
No, I don't get headphones.
We did not give you.
Here are my
Wow,
headphones.
it's funny how quickly you go to slight. That this was all planned.
What do you mean it's planned? No.
Conspiracy.
No, it's like I sit down. Why are my headphones right here? Like everyone has headphones.
I had back surgery.
You know
And
what?
yes, I'm going to be playing that for the next 6 years.
You know what? I'm so. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
and I am so.
I can't go running around
No.
looking for headphones.
I know, and I sincerely apologize. I'm sorry. It was.
I'm
just,
going to put on my back brace.
It
now.
was-
I actually am going to put on my back brace.
It was.
so I can bend down to find another set of headphones in case you don't like those.
All right. Okay. Hey, James, are the figures? Are they okay over there? Don't you
How,
think
how are the figures?
figures? They shouldn't be in the front here.
I don't know.
Well, dude,
come
there's no
on.
guest. There's no. Don't you have to go back brace or go to the bathroom? Why don't you go
set
do
this
something?
up the way you like?
Larry,
I don't
yeah,
care.
You
I
let me
don't
know
care.
where they should go and I'll move them.
Well,
Are we recording
here's-
yet? On October 4th, sorry, let me say it again.
Wow. You're all choked up.
Demon booze. Okay, we
It
go.
was
choked
on
up.
October 4th.
Wait, no. Do that again. Clean.
And if I could give a shout out, I would like to do.
Schweigen.